right, now we're live. So, we're all here together today. All four of us crammed in the tiny little podcast office. My voice sounding like absolute dog shit because this mic's fucked up.
Dog water.
But we're going to start off. We're going to get into some current events and just have like a general discussion on just guy stuff, the way the world's going, any topics that just kind of interest us. And we're going to start off with Jarrett because he's got something planned.
Hey everybody, I'm old J-Rap.
You can pull that mic wherever you want. If you want to sit back, you can pull it back.
But the camera can't see me.
I kind of pull the hand up sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it sucks.
Hey, do you move the camera? No, you can't.
No, I'll sit right here. Me and you will be real good buddies, Matthew.
Okay.
I wanted to talk about like where social media is going nowadays. So like social media when it first came out, like everybody has Snapchat, Instagram, Reddit. I think Reddit's really cool, but like Snapchat and Instagram really the main ones. It's just I think it's giving people a false like sense of popularity and how kind of like, hey, I'm more important than you. Now granted everybody's important, but I think it's like almost becoming like a jealousy factor where everybody's trying to be better than everybody else. And so like people post all these opinions and these videos and stuff like this, like everybody else's like opinions suck. Mm-hmm. So really another thing too, we have a guest of honor. Really like everything too is like all the influencers. These like Snapchat, Instagram influencers, TikTok too. TikTok I think was probably one of the worst things to happen to social.
TikTok is dangerous.
TikTok is the stupidest thing ever. I don't have TikTok personally, because it's dangerous. It's like what Dallas said, man. You can look at anything you want on TikTok. They practically have porn.
Okay, well, why do you think it's dangerous though?
Because it's just captivating. It's addictive. It's an addictive habit where you just waste time.
Yeah, but then okay, so I totally agree, right?
Right.
So I totally agree. But the thing is, who's in control of your eyes?
We are.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, it's like it's kind of up to you to be like responsible for your time and stuff like that, and your time management.
Well, what if they're like under 18 kids, like, and they don't really have that mindset to be like, all right, well, I should be controlling myself and I should be managing myself. A lot of these kids get like addicted to the idea of getting on TikTok and making videos and like doing all this stuff.
Yeah, for real. And so I'm kind of like, as far as the whole like social media stuff, like I'm caught on a few things. Like, don't get me wrong, like I like being more of a natural person. Real food, protein. Not like fast food and fake stuff. And I like walking outside in the grass and going for hikes and stuff, all that type of stuff. A little bit granola-y, but you know what I mean. But and I think it'd be great. Like, okay, no kids allowed to have social media. They're not allowed to use it. But then on the flip side, you'll find like every once in a while, like some kid who created this awesome business, and their parents like, oh yeah, don't ever do that. You're wasting your time. Like that's stupid. Like YouTube or like live streaming. Like there's a bunch of parents like, oh hey kids, yeah, you can't play video games. Those are terrible. And then it's like, oh look at this 16-year-old kid making $1 million in this Fortnite tournament.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's like there has to be like a healthy balance, I think, as far as like kids under 18. And I think that's just, it's up to the parents to understand what social media does to them. Like, you know how many people, like, my parents are kind of younger. I think all of our parents are younger parents, like our parents.
Right.
To where, like, social media, when it came out, like, they could kind of use it. They weren't, like, 80.
Well, I don't think like my mom.
Yeah, no, but she can go on your Facebook page and she knows what you're talking about and what you're posting and stuff. To where some parents, like, they have no clue.
Right.
Like, they have no clue what their kids are into. And that's, I think, is where, as far as for people, like, under 18, where it could be, I don't want to say necessarily dangerous, but where it could start putting them down the wrong path of, like, their self-identity and all that type stuff. I think that's where, like, the biggest issues might be, is the whole, like, how do you identify, how you perceive yourself and what you perceive as being, like, good.
Right.
Like, is it good to, like, be nice to a friend, or is it good to, like, shun that friend and get a bunch of likes or views or, whatever. Like,
right, or to, like, do something that's, like, incredibly stupid for the views. Like,
yeah.
Peer pressure. It's basically peer pressuring.
Yeah.
And if you say something or do something that's really stupid, that could, you know, like the internet, everything's online forever. And the idea is like
Yep.
the internet doesn't just put what you say online, it puts the worst idea of what you say online. So if I went online and I said some joke or something that was like not appropriate nowadays, but maybe in 2010 it was, the idea is that 2010 joke isn't going to be remembered as, oh, it's just a joke. It's the worst interpretation. Like, I am an extreme racist or extreme homophobe. That's the interpretation of the joke that was put online, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
So if someone, yeah.
Yeah, well, especially and now we're learning all this stuff like firsthand, like as we go,
Right.
because who was the first? Weren't we the first generation to get social media?
Yeah,
kinda-
like
kinda
100% probably.
growing up with it.
I mean, I remember I got my phone. I got my first phone. It was a touchscreen phone. I got my first phone when I was like in 7th grade or something. So I was like 12 or 13. No, I was like
I had a
11.
MySpace in 6th grade.
You had a MySpace in
I
sixth
think,
grade.
I
Oh,
think it was
Dude, he
probably
was-
about 6th grade, right? Sixth,
Scotty
seventh?
Scotty was big pimping. If you had a MySpace
wait, do you
in
think
6th
it's still
grade,
out there?
MySpace?
The page? I
Yeah.
don't even know. It's MySpace.
I don't even think is MySpace. No, they're like
no, they
servers
got
you
bought
buy.
out, I think, and like just shut down, I believe.
Really? Like you couldn't go and find like my old MySpace
Yeah, like
profile.
Facebook bought it or something. I don't know.
Oh,
Mark,
that was
Mark
the
Zuck,
stuff back in the
Daddy
day.
Zuck.
I remember I didn't have a picture on my MySpace. Like nobody had pictures, and I remember one of my like friends. They're like, "Oh, come to our house. We have a webcam." I'm like, "You have a webcam?" They're like, "Yeah, we'll take your picture." So that was my first profile picture ever. It was like me sitting in like a chair. Like
I wish I could find that. I'd like,
it's if you can still find your Facebook or your MySpace profile, it's probably still on there.
it would definitely be on my fridge.
Oh, and then you younger guys might not remember this, but do you remember it was like a whole debate, like the MySpace stuff on who was your top friends?
Yeah,
Because
you
you could
did,
pick
like-
and choose who
I
your
think
top
was
friends
it
were.
5 or 10, or you
Yeah.
can kind of change it around.
And then they did the money thing where you could buy people and sell people, and different people were worth different amounts of money, right?
Wait, what?
I don't
Yeah,
remember
like
that.
Buying and selling people? Wait.
That
Yeah.
was a few hundred years ago.
Yeah.
I don't think that was
You're a little behind,
brought
Matthew.
up. Not that old.
No, but that was the thing. Like, you could actually go and, like, people would have a certain money on their profile. And the idea is, like, if you were bought, the more you bought and sold, the more money you were worth. And the idea is, like, you can have Blink 182's page as, like, a certain amount of money. This wasn't real money, obviously. This is just, like, fake money. But, like,
The first cryptocurrency.
yeah, like, you could actually go and buy, like, Blink 182 was worth, like, 3.2 million. Or, like, my brother Zach was worth, like, 40,000. Scotty's worth, like, 15 or 20 because nobody wanted to buy him.
I don't
like,
remember. I
that's
think you're
messed
making
up.
this up.
That was the thing. It was, like, almost like I think you buy him as, like, a pet or something.
Man, if
I
you
don't
would have
know.
bought
As-
Scotty
that
back
sounds
then, that would
really
have been a
bad.
great investment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember that part. I remember like putting stuff on my profile, and you'd like go to Google and like copy down like a URL, then like post a URL on the spot, and you'd get like a GIF or something. But yeah, MySpace was weird, and I don't think I barely ever used it. Like all I did was message like a couple people once.
Couple chicks.
Yeah, and then my Facebook came out, and I remember back in the day, there was actually this huge debate like, do you have Facebook or do you have MySpace? And all the kids were like, MySpace is way better because you can customize it, and you can like make it what you want, and you can like
Add music.
add
Yeah.
music. And Facebook was like just like this bland, like you just a profile, and all you do is
For
communicate.
old people.
It was for old people.
Exactly.
That's what we all thought. And then nobody had MySpace. I don't know their marketing or what happened, but nobody had it. And
Well, that's what it
everyone
was
got
for like
Facebook.
Instagram. Matthew, it probably was for you too. It was like, oh, Facebook was for old people. You gotta have Instagram.
Yeah, I got it when I was like Facebook when I was like 4, and I just never really used the account. Immediately, it was just Instagram, Snapchat.
You were 4?
Yeah, probably not when I was 4, but when I was like young. There's like I used a 4-year-old picture, I think.
Oh, you said when you were 4. I was like, dang, you were setting up a MySpace when you were 4 or Facebook?
So, do any of you guys ever remember Snapchat when it first came out?
I remember, yeah, because Banana Bus 234. That was it was like 7th grade when like Snapchat came out, and I was like, oh, this thing's sick.
This is how old I am. I remember when Snapchat first came out and I first got it, I had to do like the take your phone and turn the phone around,
Yep, that's
take a
how-
picture of you, and then look at it. There was no face cam
Oh yeah, there wasn't.
on my phone.
Uh-huh.
So I remember having to like, does that one look good? And like check it, and then I could send it.
Yep, I did that
Like
on
a
like my
selfie.
Galaxy Grand Prime is what my first phone was ever called. And dude, I thought it was the coolest stuff. Then everybody was like with their iPhone like 6s. They were like, "Oh man, you're such a bozo."
So Scotty, what do you think as far as the whole social media thing? Do you think it's addictive? Do you think it's good for you, bad for you, neutral? What do you think?
I mean, of course, it's definitely not good for you, but because I'm on TikTok all the time. I love scrolling through TikTok. I don't make any, but I'm always on TikTok, probably a couple hours a day if I were to add it up. But it's definitely not good for you, and they made it like a lottery system almost, like where you're just swiping constantly. It's like, have you ever been to the casino where you're just like you're pulling levers and
I I
it's almost like
so I had TikTok for a little while, and then I deleted it just because I was trying to get off all social media. But one, I will say this. I don't think I've learned something from any other social media. I've actually learned like a few things from TikTok, and one of the only things I can really remember is like I watched. There's some video like, oh, this is how you clean your sink drain out, like real quick, and they dump a bunch of ice down their drain, and then you just turn the disposal on, and like the ice like gets crushed up, and then is like spinning around in your drain, and it kind of like cleans it all out. And this lady like, yeah, then you turn your water on, you leave it going, and like it starts like coming out, and the water's all like black and brown.
Mhm.
So I'm like, man, I gotta try that. I tried it, and it worked. But I'm like, hey, I actually learned something from TikTok. I don't think I've ever like saw something on Instagram and was like, oh, I gotta go try that right now,
Yeah.
and actually like tried it.
well, it matters what lane you get down.
Yeah.
Like I see a bunch of construction things because I find little tips and tricks about construction all the time, but I don't really yeah, I guess it depends on what lane you're going down.
Well, I mean, they also like form it to like what you like too. Like it's all based off your likes and like what you have and stuff. Like my Instagram's all like big rig stuff. And, like,
What I don't like this. So here's my issue with like almost any social media, and it's I like so many different things, and like especially YouTube now because I only have YouTube. It's the only thing that I have, and like I have like depending on the type of day, like I might want to listen to some science stuff. I might want to listen to some history stuff, some exercise podcast, or a sermon or whatever. And it's like the algorithm is only good enough to like play me like what I most recently looked up. Like in the same thing like TikTok, like if you look like at truck stuff on TikTok, only truck stuff comes up.
Yep.
Like I want to see like if I click the bin saying I like exercise, I like hunting, I like fishing, I like shooting, but then I also like gaming and I also like podcasts. I want it to give me like if I scroll through 10 videos, I want 10 different things. I don't want like 5 of like the last, oh, hey, I watched like 5 gun videos recently and I actually watched them all the way through and clicked on their profile and blah 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 blah. Don't just show me only gun stuff now like all the time. That's what annoys me cuz I'll get that with even like YouTube. And that's the reason why I have both of my TVs not signed into my account on YouTube because my TV in my bedroom recommends me like certain stuff, and then the TV in the living room recommends me certain stuff, and I don't feel like reteaching the algorithm what to show me.
Yeah. It's like also too. It's like you can learn things from TikTok and Instagram and stuff all day, but like there's also like 5 and 6 year olds with TikTok, and it's like they're just looking for hours and hours and hours on end.
Well, dude, if you want
And-
to talk about zombies too,
Yes.
have you ever seen like the little kids? Even her,
With the
like,
iPads, bro.
like watch this. I'll do a live test right now. Watch this.
Live child test.
Watch. She recognizes it like
Yeah.
right away.
Like she knows.
She knows.
But it's like so like imagine these kids that are like 5, 6,
She's 4 months.
7 to 8 with iPads, iPhones and all stuff. Dude, I got a 8-year-old cousin with an iPhone 8. And she's sassy, dude. She is a little sassy thing. I'm like, "Who got you this iPhone?" She said, "My mama." I'm like, "Okay, all right, whatever." But it's like, imagine these kids in like when they're like 18 or 20 what it's going to be. I hope it's not because I wish I didn't have my phone sometimes. And that's what I like about truck driving. I can't be on my phone legally by DOT.
Mm-hmm.
But if I could, I probably would be. But it's like, so imagine these kids when they're like 18 and 20.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be. Well, they're already grown up. Like kids born in 2000,
Yep.
they've almost had it their whole life. maybe not cell phones, but social media.
They've been around technology, like accessible technology and the
Yeah.
internet.
But it also can be a good thing because you have access to such, you know, like to podcasts, Audible, different books, and it depends on what you use it for. But it's much easier just to scroll on TikTok or something because it's just rewarding. You're constantly being rewarded over and over.
To further Scotty's idea,
Uh,
a lot of people, like in engineering specifically, the reason why they got into it was because they were really big on like PCs and like gaming and stuff. Like the sort of like idea is like if we're around technology, typically we gravitate towards some sort of field that furthers that kind of like that thing. So I think if kids have phones, a lot of kids might look at TikTok, might just use it for like whatever like time waste. But I think a lot of kids will move into that field of like more like learning or like technology type stuff.
I think. Well, so here's the other thing: is I would agree if you let it go like naturally, right? Like
Right.
if it was all natural, and like the algorithms were natural, I would say it would tend towards that. And like I don't know how true this is, but I heard that in like China, TikTok, like they will not show them like trendy dances and like all that type crap. It's only like, hey, this kid made a 100 on his math test.
Informational
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah. And in the US, they said the algorithm in the US is pushed towards the trendy dance routines and stuff like that. And so it's like, can you imagine if it was reversed? Like if it was, we were pushed, or the kids, or whoever's using it was pushed to see like, oh, hey, this kid he invested his money at 18 and he did really good, or he started working hard, or
You
whatever.
do see a lot of those though. Like
There
the business
are a
kids,
lot.
yeah.
There are a lot, but I mean, I don't even go on TikTok. If I see like a TikTok, it's on YouTube. And even I don't ever like type in trendy dance videos. But the amount of trendy dance videos that get recommended to me is like almost at least every day. I'll see some like blah 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 dance. Look at it on this YouTube short. And I'm like I don't want this. I don't care about this. I don't want to watch some stupid dance. But that's what gets like provided to me.
That's what there was a ex KGB agent that gave a speech. I think it was in the 80s, but he talked about that like the long game for Russia was to like weaken America by like pushing these types of things.
That's
Right.
You
super.
start
That's
weakening
there's
the
no
youth.
way. Like that's such a wild.
That's what they're
I,
doing.
I would believe
And
it
that's
though.
what's happening though.
That's a complete
Because
conspiracy.
China, yeah, well, I mean, it's
amount
a
of things you have to, like,
conspiracy, but
conflate.
it's even if it's not a conspiracy, that's what's happening in a
I mean,
way.
think about it. I
Because
mean,
if China's not letting
Have
them,
you seen the speech? Did
letting
you
them
hear him
do
say
all
that, or
this.
did you hear somebody say that he said the speech too?
Huh? No, the guy was doing an interview because he was an ex KGB agent. He was telling like
I mean, Russia's not going to
what
come
their-
out and
what
say,
their
"Hey,
goals are. Maybe
America."
it's not just Russia or China, but I mean, even if that's not what they're trying to do, that's what's kind of happening.
Right.
I don't think anyone could have foresaw this idea of like TikTok or something like
Yeah,
that.
maybe they didn't see it overall, but that is what kind of is happening.
But they can throw it into their strategy.
Yeah.
You gotta play with the way the game goes and how technology goes and stuff. But the only reason I think that like kids and stuff are not gonna be like as further along with like TikTok and stuff. Like you can learn stuff off TikTok. We know that. We've seen that and stuff. Think about when COVID hit 2 years ago.
Mhm.
How everybody sat at home and did nothing, and they collected $900 checks every week for a year.
Mhm.
And then how they were like, "Well, I don't want to go back to work," and everybody just became lazy. They didn't do anything. Not everybody, but most people. I mean, you guys could probably name a lot of people that just ended up sitting at home not doing anything.
Well, they were getting paid more. Some people, I know
Yeah.
someone that was getting paid more than their check that they would get at the normal job.
Yeah, I would have got $300 more.
Yeah.
I would have got
Yeah.
like $350 more if I went on unemployment.
But it basically, I feel like it was like it was a test in a way of universal basic income.
No, universal basic income. That's not that. We already
How
have
it-
some
how
sort
it-
of universal basic
how
income.
it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No, I'm saying it was a test to see, and I'm saying it doesn't work.
No,
because
they didn't
people were
test
lazy.
anything.
I mean, it wasn't a test, but it was like
But we already have a system that
experiment
already
at it.
does that, though. The idea is like, all right, so we have income, like the income tax. The idea is we have a negative income tax, and basically instead of giving everybody $1,000 a month, we give every year we give some people who are making less more money back, like
So
the
they don't
EIC
tax them
program.
as
the
much,
earned
yeah.
income.
Like communism.
No.
Yeah,
it's-
but that's just the way the tax system works. You're saying.
Well, it's sort of like we took the universal basic income and we said not everybody needs this money. Who needs this money more? And depending on how much you make, if you make less, you get more money based off that.
Mhm.
So instead of being a flat rate, because it's basically
yeah, yeah.
universal basic income is like the contrary to like
Yeah.
a flat rate tax.
But that's not when people see it as a check, like when they're getting a check, like when we got the stimulus package and all that or whatever.
Yep.
Like when people get the check, rather than coming out of your paycheck, when they cut the check to you, because they're basically giving your money back, but they see it as a bonus check, and I don't know. I feel like it's not going to be used well.
I don't know how much I agree with that. I think that the stimulus was necessary in many ways. I think a lot of people used it in shitty ways, and it kind of like deters our view of it. But I think a lot of people did.
There's
need that
definitely
check.
people that did.
I don't
need
think
Yeah,
it
people were
worked.
buying like llamas and stuff with
Yeah.
a stimulus check.
llamas.
Yeah, I saw somebody bought it and bought a like llama for $1,400.
Is that a good deal on a llama?
I mean, I guess I don't know what the average going rate of a llama is. But no, like people did,
Yeah.
like people were like, all right, cool. I could either save this money and use it and stuff, or it's like, or I could just
Buy some farm animals.
Well,
buy
That's not a bad
Gator.
investment though. What do you get out of a llama?
a
though?
llama. You get nothing.
They don't
Maybe like, I don't know. I don't know if they're like cheap and you can like shave them.
Can you milk a llama?
It might protect your farmland.
Yeah, can you milk a llama? I mean, you can milk almonds, so I mean, you got to be able to milk a llama.
Did you hear that? Was there a joke by somebody that said like I'm so sick of going to like stores and like hearing like what was it was a joke about milk at like Starbucks or something like that.
Yeah, chocolate milk comes from brown cows. Duh.
No. And the guy's like, "Do you want this milk, this milk, this milk, this milk?" And he's like, I'll just have milk from a cow." And the joke is like the person at the desk was just like, "Oh, like milk from a cow? Like, oh, that's so like mean of you or whatever." And he's like he like couldn't believe it. He goes, "You're the one who's back there milking almonds or cashews or something like that." It was super funny.
Yeah, they have a bunch of weird milk. Like what? Where does strawberry milk come from?
You
milk with
add
Pink cows?
flavor.
Does that come from pink cows?
We're not even gonna go down this path here. You could have been like, "Where does cashew milk come from?" And that would have been acceptable. But the strawberry milk,
There's actually a study where like, I think it was like 76 of Americans, like percent of Americans, not 76 Americans, but 76% of Americans believe that like brown cows make chocolate milk.
I don't know.
I saw something on it.
That's
and I
gotta be a
was-
joke.
And I was like, I mean, it would make sense, but
If they pulled like a bunch of
Wait.
college kids that were just
You
getting
would-
plastered every
yeah,
weekend, like,
joking
oh, dude,
around.
brown
No.
cows make chocolate milk.
You said it made sense. Does it make sense that chocolate milk comes from chocolate cows, or does that make sense?
No,
that all
not
these
chocolate cows. You can't call them chocolate cows.
I can't
yeah.
call them chocolate
that's
cows.
the-
Yeah, you have to say African American cow.
Yeah, these cows of color.
Yeah,
But no, I mean, what else was there? I mean, do we have anything else on social media?
I got a pretty decent idea. So essentially, when we have these like social media things, a lot of people tend to hear stuff, and if it furthers their idea, they say it, and they don't really know what they're saying. And in this way, I kind of have this sort of idea that like when you talk to a lot of people, it seems like we're not having real conversations. Like it seems like we're having conversations with somebody who's essentially just furthering some point that somebody else is saying. And if you ask questions about that, it seems like a lot of people don't understand what they're saying really. Now whenever you talk to people, typically they say what they mean, but like whenever it comes to someone who's harshly like radical or harshly like I want this, I don't think that doesn't make any sense, you're stupid. It's like typically they're saying something that they don't fully understand, or they're just furthering some idea. You know, they're saying it because they subscribe to a group. And typically you see like, for example, the way I kind of point this out is like, let's say someone were trying to end homelessness. All right. The idea is they should put their mindset on like ending homelessness instead of putting it on like we need to have these charity fundraisers, like this is what I should be emotionally tied, or we need to have like public housing, because the idea is like these actions may not work, so the idea is like we need to have, instead of just like the idea of like putting emotions and actions, we need to have it on like outcomes, like we need to change like this, you know what I'm saying?
What is that? How they're seeing? That's how they get to the outcome.
Essentially, yes, but the idea is like imagine if you believe something. Imagine from like the only way to help humanity is to like kill all the plants in the world because the plants are killing us. You know, the idea is like, is that the
pull that up a little bit more.
yeah? So essentially, it's like the best way to fix something typically is like you have to be able to have an open mind and change your mind at any point. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that we do that as people. I think we typically we see something, and if we say like, all right, we're anti-establishment or we're there for the establishment, we will believe that point as long as it's like pushes our agenda, and we don't actually have like intelligent conversations in the fact that like this isn't true or this is true. You know,
Do you believe that we ever get to an end stage, like something gets so efficient and it's not able to be improved anymore?
um, no, I don't think we do. Because the idea is like a lot of people say like this is the for like socialism. People say like socialism works because if we had this perfect society where capitalism builds us up, we can take over and make a socialist society where we can do this thing. But typically, we never meet that stage. Like socialism typically is like the perfect ideology. It's a utopia. But the idea is like we'll never get there, you know, because we have to get there through capitalism or whatever. But
No, but what I'm saying is like, do you think there becomes a point where cars like their max MPG is never gonna go over, 100 miles per gallon?
yeah, like a perfect engine or something. or-
Yeah.
No, they'll always.
Do you
find
think
a way
they'll
to do it.
always keep improving? Do you think like they'll always keep improving video games so that video games they're distinguishable from real life?
I think it depends on what it is. It's like it's like with the deadlift, the strongman deadlift.
Mhm.
Like they just did 501 and now they're pushing for 505. There's got to be a limit of what the human can do. They didn't think 500 kilograms was possible, and then Eddie Hall did it. But is 600 kilograms possible? There's got to be a limit on something like that. But
the
it depends
4 minute
on
mile. Do you guys
Yeah.
ever hear about that?
Yeah.
Like the mile was like the fastest mile I ever ran was like 6 minutes or something. Like it'll never be beaten. It's impossible. And then it was
Yeah.
like 5:04. Now it's like 3:58 or something for like the world's
Yeah.
fastest mile. It'll never be zero though.
Mhm.
Like you can't keep infinitely improving it. Like that's all I'm trying to
certain
say.
things
Yeah.
can't be infinitely improved.
Yeah.
I mean, but you could always improve it by like it would go down to milliseconds to like improve it.
Yeah.
Like on certain
okay,
things, you know what I'm saying?
For sure, but then is that even an improvement?
I
like-
mean, yeah.
If you get like 0.00001 MPG more, for $100 million worth of work, is that worth it?
Mhm.
Well, I mean, like on the human standpoint, like there will be an end cap, I think, eventually. But you got to think too. Technology keeps improving. Technology is ever changing. Technology will not stop
So
improving.
is it Moore's law?
I have no idea what Moore's law is.
I'm pretty sure I'm not, if I'm not mistaken, Moore's law is like the number of capacitors or resistors or something like that on a chip, on a piece of silica or something, and it doubles like every year. It's starting to slow down because they've gotten like the microchip chip so small that they can't make it any smaller.
Mhm.
And so like that's finally like coming to an end.
So I have some. So here's the idea. A lot of the time, whenever we see something or whenever we have this idea of technology, we have the idea that like, if how are cars going to get better? How are these things going to get better? In the 1920s, they wrote something on like what life would look like in 100 years, and they basically had like trains going across water or trains, flying in the air. The idea is they always thought like this technology has to get better because this is what we always use. The idea is like eventually cars aren't going to get better, so we're going to make something else that's not a car.
Yeah, there's something totally different.
So the idea is like with the computers, typically they're moving into this field called supercomputers. And the idea is instead of having like a binary number like 0101, the idea is it's not just zero, it's like a whole equation within that zero. So computers are within the software is going to get a lot more.
Have you seen the new hybrid analog and binary computers?
If they're supercomputers, I may have read into them a little bit, but I probably haven't seen them.
It's pretty interesting if you have the time to take a look at it. That's out of I've only saw it and went, oh, that's kind of cool, and then that's about it. That's all. So I'm not gonna start going down that hole.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
what were you? So before I step down, forgive me for that. What,
No, you're
what
good,
was what was the point of the whole?
Basically with a lot of like TikToks maybe or like news, everything is becoming so socially divided. Like we don't see people as other people. We don't go outside. So with COVID and everything, they created this culture where we stay inside. We don't really leave. When we go to work, we don't go to work. We get on our computer, work from home. We don't actually go to church anymore. We might listen to the sermon on our computer. The idea is we don't talk to people anymore, and it creates this divide where it's much easier to hate somebody if you're not talking to them. If you're not like, I can hate Scotty. If I hear about Scotty, if I hear that this guy like cheats on his wife or like does this horrible shit, I'm like, wow, Scotty's an asshole. But then I talk to him and he talks to me and I'm like, oh, he's actually not that bad of a
Got
guy.
reasons for all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. So like, for example, like a lot of people are like, I hate gay people. Oh, I can't stand it. But then they talk to a gay person like, okay, you're okay. Gay people, I still hate them, but like this guy seems pretty nice.
or like, oh, I disagree with what they think, but he's still a cool dude.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, like as long as
person or whatever.
the thing with the whole thing with like gay people is like when they're trying to shove it down your throat, like, hey, I like men, so you're gonna like men. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm not, buddy. Sorry.
What have you seen that thing where it's like, I don't. Never mind. I don't even want to get on the topic of the whole transgender stuff. So we can
Oh,
avoid. We
all
can
right, now,
avoid
not
that.
after, not after Roe Wade.
So okay, so that we kind of, I guess we want to. Oh, real quick, what I want to ask everybody.
Yep.
Is so we kind of went through some possible problems / issues, social media. What do you think the solutions might be?
I think the solutions, and this is going to sound like super weird, like most people who are like super atheist, super nihilist, or typically what we see like coming out of COVID, like a lot less people are like Christian. The idea is like we still need to have some sort of events. Like if people aren't going to church, we need to have events where people are going out and talking to each other. Like the idea is if we're always inside and we're not seeing other people, there's so much hate and shit that can be stirred up, and people become super radicalized. Like if I'm not talking to people every day, I'm going nuts. You know?
Yeah.
So the idea is like
You need human interaction.
Yeah, the idea is like if I were an atheist and I had the same viewpoint where it's like this, I would typically try and find things like church, like going to church, where I can go to a community event and talk to people and see like, all right, do people actually believe that Trump is Hitler? Or do people actually believe that like Biden's going to ruin America or like all this shit? Like, what do people actually believe? I don't know because I'm sitting inside just reading shit on news, like media.
Another thing too that goes along with that is you get to test out your own theories and how you're. It's like almost like testing out a joke.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going to go to open the mic night and check, test out this joke, see if it lands. You can test out your own little beliefs and theories with, people you have either, a low to medium, like, relationship with, like church or, some, like, gathering or whatever. You can say, hey, like, I've been thinking about this or that or the other thing, and you can run stuff by people, and because you know them or you have a relationship with them, they can be like, ooh, I don't know if I'd say it that way, or have you considered this, or, and it helps you, like, refine your belief, rather than if you were to just go, Facebook or forum page or whatever and say, hey, I believe this, and everyone just goes, oh, yeah, cool, because they don't feel like typing out a response, or you're just in an echo chamber. So yeah, I totally agree. People going out in public is, and having interactions with groups of people and stuff, that's definitely huge. And I've always noticed that when I'm actually doing something, I'm not on my phone.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's huge.
Definitely find a hobby. I think finding a hobby would probably be the
A
best
big
bet.
solution.
Like Dallas, your other hobby is like I know.
Everything.
Yeah, you're kicking tail as a person. Like you're always go. I mean, and you got a little munchkin. But it's like, for like people who are like younger, like me and Matthew, like find a hobby and that'll definitely get you out. I got scumbagged into buying a $400 jet ski from two crackheads in Belton, South Carolina. I have $100 in a starter, and I take that thing out every weekend, and it is probably the most fun I've ever had in my life. I bought a motorcycle, like, and that just creates these things where you go out and you meet people and you just learn to be around people and
you
you're
learn
not
stuff.
doing anything. Yeah, you like I know how to pull a jet ski motor in 5 minutes.
Well, it makes you a more interesting person too, because you know more about like let's say Scotty would have never gotten to weightlifting and working out and stuff like that, and I don't have to work out.
Right.
Like, I don't have to work out at all. But I can see Scotty be like, oh man, dude, you look different. You look so good, blah, 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 blah. And he goes, yeah, so I've been doing this. And he has this knowledge about something that, if I've never done it before, I can learn something. Or if I have done it before, it can be common ground and we can talk about it. So, but if he was to never do it at all, he's missing a chunk of information that he could have had that would make him more of a, I don't want to say more of a people person, but he could have something to provide to the conversation. You know
I'm
what I
sure
mean?
there would have been something else to fill the void, like some other type of hobby I would have got into, or everybody has.
Yeah, but you could just sit on your couch and watch TV all day too.
Yeah.
There's a lot
And
of people that do that.
But then you watch movies
I would
and
know
you
all
will-
these movies. I could have
Yeah.
references, that's also what I do.
I mean, I know a guy that has like a whole YouTube channel off like movie reviews and
Yeah.
stuff. He reviews a lot of movies
Yeah.
and stuff, and it's like it's all about
Just have-
what you're into and what you like.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but anybody can sit down and watch a movie. Anybody can't walk into a gym and deadlift 500 pounds.
Scotty Too Hot, he just built different.
Yeah.
Right? No, but seriously, like,
Yeah.
is that not true?
No,
Like,
I
you've
could.
done
But
you've
if
done
it-
something that was hard.
It depends on because you can go in depth with movie reviews, and I mean, if
Yeah.
movies are your thing, like if movies were my thing as much as the gym is, I would know directors, actors, you know what I mean, how to
Yeah,
like, you know what
yeah.
I mean? It matters, you know. But yeah, you can just sit at home. I don't know, yeah. There's different.
Well, okay, so as far as the social media thing, like
But yeah.
what do you think like possible solutions and stuff like that to some of the things that some of the negative aspects that we discussed about it?
I think the main thing is just being aware of it, being aware that it's that it can be a problem.
Yeah.
As much like I don't think you should ban anything. I don't think, um just be aware of how, how it can mess with you, because like when people upload things and they sit there and wait for likes, they like, you refresh and you're waiting for likes, you're waiting, and a lot of kids, if they don't get the amount of likes, they delete the photo because they're like, that wasn't good enough.
Well, they
And
also
what,
like,
what was the saying? What was the saying that all the girls would like
oh
say when they
gosh,
post a picture?
Oh yeah, might delete this later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Felt
felt
good.
cute, might delete
yeah,
later.
might delete later. Yeah, but and it's like a you get those hits like from all those likes, and then
Yeah,
I think for 110%, this is something that I would say everybody should do, if especially if you're a man, especially if you're 18 plus, is you should at a bare minimum know roughly how much time you spend on social media.
you could look on your phone.
Yeah, and most phones will tell
yeah, they
you
will tell
exactly how
you.
much time you've spent on whatever app. For me, as far as possible, like solutions and stuff like that, we talked about kids having social media, and so I'll kind of, for my solution for that is the parents have to know like what their kids are doing, what they're looking at,
Yep.
how long they're on it, and then so I don't blame the kid. Like I don't get mad at the kid. I blame the parent, and I would say if your kid is so addicted to social media and TikTok and YouTube and all that, like then you're just a boring ass person. Like go out there and do something fun.
Right.
Like make the if you want your kid to be less attached to their phone or
Buy them
tablet,
Legos, 100%.
Legos. Take them on a hike. Go fishing with them. Teach them something. Include, hey, I'm working on this jet ski. Hey, hand me that wrench. Hold this light. Like,
And you better hold it right.
yeah, but like, teach them stuff. Show them stuff. Take them along.
Yep.
Explain things to them. Ask for their input. So that they would be more interested in what you're doing than being interested in like what's on that screen.
Right.
I think that would be huge for parents. And I'm like, to be honest with you, I have a 4-month-old. I'm having a hard time doing it myself.
Right.
Like when I feed her or whatever, like I'll sit down and like turn the TV on, and then me and her are both watching TV.
Yeah.
And usually once she's done, like I shut it off because I have to either like she wants to play or something, but I'll try like get on the floor with her, roll around, you know, play with her little toys, try to talk to her. I'll try, I practice standing with her. Like, dude, I have zero interest in doing that stuff. It's cool because it's my kid and I get to watch them learn.
Yeah. But if it was like somebody else's, you'd be like,
I'd be like, okay, I'm done with this.
yeah.
It's gratifying because it's my own kid. So I'm not gonna say I would hate it, but it's not like if I had time to myself, would I be laying around on the floor playing with a little ball? No, I wouldn't. I'd be outside, or playing games or something like that. Oh, did I just bounce your mic right, your head right off that mic? But
They're resilient.
that's what I think as far as like the kids. It's just parents, get more involved.
Well, it's like the parents too. Like, this is a whole other topic for another day. But like parents too nowadays, a lot of them are just young and they grew up, doing what we grew up doing. Like they got a phone at like 13, 14, and they were on social media. Kid starts crying. And it's like, well, how can I make the kid shut up? Hey, they really like this phone. Here's this phone. Play with this. See you later. Bye.
So I agree with that, but then at the same time, this is another thing I've always thought of, and I always think about my own parents. Like my dad, he did like we played baseball, we played football, we played catch, we played basketball. If we were running around the yard or going hunting or whatever, shooting BB guns, he would come with us and do it, and he'd be climbing through the woods, and I was like,
Yep.
oh man, he's freaking strong. And then I'd see him work out, and I'm like, I want to work out, so I'd go with him. And there's so many kids like I legit thought that like having young parents was normal.
Yeah.
I didn't know having like old parents was actually normal.
Well, like how old are Brian and like when you were like 15, 16, Brian and Jody were what, like,
In their 40s, like
Yeah.
early 40s.
yeah, early 40s.
My mom's 18 years older than me, and my dad's 20 years older than me.
Yeah.
So I'm 28. No, my dad's was like 23. My dad's like 50, and I'm 28.
Yeah.
So
So they were late 20s when they had.
no, they were early. My mom was 18.
Oh, your mom was 18.
My mom was 18 when she had me. I think my dad was like 22.
Okay, so
23.
yeah, and you're the oldest too. So
I'm the oldest.
Yeah.
But so growing up, like I remember in school, there's one girl, we're both in high school, like 10th grade. I'm like, how old's your dad? She's like 67. I'm like, your dad is like 20 years older than my dad.
Yep.
Like
Yeah.
your dad could have been my grandpa. Her parents were my grandparents' age, and I'm like, and now obvious like my mom, my grandmother and her family. My grandmother is the oldest of her family. My mom is the second oldest of her family, and I'm the oldest of my family. So like, that's not normal. Like, so I get that, but still, it's like I told Mackenzie, like, I don't want to be 35 and having kids because
Right.
I'm never going to have a relationship with them. And, like, as far as my parents go, like, my dad, like, he always knew what I was talking about. Like, if I came to him and was like, hey, check out this computer or check out this cool thing or this car or what, like, he was just as interested. Like, he was in the know, I guess you could say.
Right.
It wasn't like, I wasn't like, hey, check out this rap song. And he was like, you should be listening to classical,
I got some sick bluegrass.
yeah,
for you.
classical music. And he's like, oh, yeah, I used to listen to rap back in the 80s, and like, these are the songs I used to listen to. And, so just stuff like that. And I always told myself I never wanted to be like that.
See, it's like I never had that. Like my mom was 33 years old when she had me.
Really?
Candace was 33.
Damn.
So my mom was like 33. And I love my mom to death. My mom was a single parent. She busted chops for me. Shout out to Candace. She's a real OG, but
She is an OG.
she is the biggest OG. But, me and my mom, I could never go to her and show her something like that. Like she got TikTok and she was like, have you seen this thing called TikTok? I'm like, dear God, what have you done? And it was like a big ordeal. So she used to like send me TikToks like all the time on text message, and she thought it was the coolest stuff ever. And I didn't have TikTok, so I didn't have the heart to be like, yeah, I don't have TikTok, I can't look at it. So I'd always like respond to it, and then
Just like some generic, haha.
yeah, it was like something like that, and I felt bad, but I mean, it made her happy, and I mean,
Hopefully she don't listen to this.
yeah, hopefully she doesn't. I mean,
Okay.
she definitely knows that I didn't have TikTok, so.
Oh. All right, Matthew, what did you have to bring to the table, if anything? You can.
I already
pass.
brought that thing earlier.
What'd you say? Was I missing?
That was the whole intelligent conversations.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
But to add more to the parenting thing, one last point. Typically, like whenever people talk about like parenting tips, they always say like, don't tell your kid not to eat in the living room. They tell your kid to eat at the table. Tell them what they should do, not what they shouldn't do.
Yeah.
And with like TikTok and stuff, the way I look at it is like probably the best thing to do is like tell your kid to go like teach your kid to like go play basketball or something.
Yeah.
Don't tell your kid to get off TikTok. Don't be like, hey, you can't be on your phone today, and they'll just sit around. It's like tell your kid to go do this and like give them something to do instead of that.
Yeah, hey, don't sit on your phone all day, and then you as a dad go sit your ass on the lazy boy and watch TV all day. It's like
Yeah.
it's the same thing in your kids. So lead by action too. That's huge.
Yeah, my parents would try and get me to stop playing video games because I used to play them like every day after school. And instead of like my dad would, instead of just saying like you can't play video games today, he would say, "Hey, we're gonna go out to the movies and we're gonna go out to eat and stuff." Like he's like, "We're gonna do something else other than playing video games." And I thought that was really cool. Like that was like
That is awesome.
yeah.
That's really good. All right, Scotty, what did you have?
Give it to me.
I'm not sure.
You're not sure you want me to go?
Yeah, you can go. Well, yeah, I don't know.
You just
Well,
sit there and
okay.
stew for a little
All right,
bit.
just stewing. So one of I had like a couple different things, and so one of the things I saw, I was actually talking to my dad about this today. Is like all like the electric vehicles. Like, what do you guys think of electric vehicles? And I kind of had like my mind kind of changed a little bit, and I'm not really sure why, but I used to think they were like the stupidest thing ever. But then I'm kind of like, okay, they are pretty cool, but this and this and that. But what I was looking at is like they're coming out with new like electric trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, it has like 350-mile range, but then they start towing with a truck and it's only like an 80-mile range
Right.
with like 1,000-pound payload. And I'm like, that's awful. Like I would never buy that truck, especially if you ever had to tow something with it. and you only had a range of 80
Are you
miles.
sure they're not the high-end Cybertrucks or even the Ford Lightnings? If you get
So
the bigger
that-
battery
Well, the,
packs?
well, the
No, so-
Cybertruck
No.
still.
Or-
That was the video.
Yeah,
Was
yeah.
the Ford Lightning with the upper battery pack has 320 miles, and they put a load on it and had it
Mhm.
tow, and it only held a charge for 80 miles.
Is that the highest
Yeah,
battery pack
yeah.
they have?
Yeah, it's
wow,
two,
'cause they
two-
can
it's 230 miles, and the upped battery pack is 320 miles.
because it can run your house for like a few days, can it?
Yeah.
If you swap it back,
Well, I don't know. It
If you
might
run out
not
of
be
power?
able to if it's sinking.
Yeah.
Got 80 miles with a
Well, I
1,000
guess it
pound
takes
payload.
takes a lot of power to pull. Something.
Like a 1,000 pound payload is
That big.
not that big of a trailer.
Oh, only 1,000 pound. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1,000 pounds.
No, that's not.
That's like a like
Yeah.
for granted. My motorcycle weighs like
Yeah.
750.
No, I put 3,000 pounds in the back of my van all the time.
Yeah.
I put 2,000 in the back of my Kia Optima. That was a show.
And now, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, like I definitely think they'll get better. But as far as
Yeah.
like right now,
Yeah.
like pay 60,000 for something that can't tow shit.
Maybe not with work vehicles. Like even to come out with a van and stuff. I feel like they're still gonna. They have to update things a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like,
for like a car for
Yeah.
getting to work. If you're
but it's
no,
also a truck. Like you buy a
Yeah.
truck to do truck things with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, then the other thing is, do you think that because right now, like, there's no like, if you could snap your fingers and make everyone in the U.S. drive an electric car, like, it would not work.
No.
Like
No shot.
the grid could not handle it.
yeah,
Yeah, no
Period.
shot.
power grid can't keep up with it.
And so, like, I don't understand what the plan is behind all this and what the big push is because you're going to need all this infrastructure, and the infrastructure isn't being built.
It's been they're building it more and more, but it's yeah, if everybody switched like right now, it would be a big problem. But I feel like they're slowly integrating it all.
Yeah, it's like with computers.
It's
and
getting better and better.
They're
If you
building.
look at how many like Tesla charger stations there are, they're constantly adding more and more.
Yeah, they just built one at the
You know.
Waffle House in Travelers Rest.
Like so they're
At the Waffle House?
Yeah, bro, that Waffle House be banging.
yeah, they throw them in like parking lots of like random places.
Yeah, weird
a lot of
places.
hotels and stuff.
It's like right beside the Pizza Inn too.
I read a study and it said, I don't know, I guess Joe Biden said he wants, 80% of all vehicles on the road to be electric cars by 2030.
Mhm.
And some guy did like a breakdown and he's like, they would have to build like 400 charging stations per day.
And the amount of lithium and the amount of metals they have to pull out of the earth.
Yeah, no shot,
it's-
bro.
It's so insane. Like, but I do like all that set aside. I feel like a Model 3 is way better. I just bought a new Civic, and Model 3 like for driving and stuff, it's like way better of a car.
I see.
Quicker, like
I at first I thought electric cars were so stupid because I'm just I loved all my cars and the rumble and the engine sounds and all that type stuff, and there's something about like putting your foot down on the pedal
Yep.
and then not hearing anything.
Yeah.
Have you driven an electric car?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, they're quick, man. I mean, Teslas are quick, like the metal.
I've driven a golf cart.
Yeah.
That's electric.
But even still, like, an electric golf cart compared to a motorized golf cart.
Yeah, they're pretty much the same thing. And but since then, I've had like I'm like, okay, like some of those Teslas, like they do look pretty sweet. But then to me it just seems like, okay, they're just the iPhone of the car world. Like it's just they're not that unique. They're kind of basic.
I mean, they were when they first came out, for sure.
No, but even now they're really cool and they have I can't think of a better word, but like they're kind of gimmicky. They have these like gimmicky things that they can do, and they're not.
But that's what they try to be, just basic, and that's all you need.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
they're supposed to be more basic. I think she needs to be changed.
And that's why I like the iPhone. We can go into a
I don't know, man. Android gang 4L.
One last thing on the Teslas. The main reason why I think that we should definitely switch over to Teslas and stuff eventually, and I think that we could build infrastructure. Like a lot of people complain, like, "Oh, we want to have this one." I think a lot of it's kind of like over exaggerated. The main reason why I would want to switch is because if we have all automated cars, there's no human error there. We're gonna see like only 10% of the amount of like deaths on the car, like the road or whatever,
Yeah.
compared. And even Elon talks about this. He's like, it could get down to like 10%, but then he's like, then we like people are still gonna complain like, wow, there's still these cars killing people.
but it'll be
I
way
mean, you'll
less.
never make everybody happy, but like even still, like a Tesla, you have free range of a Tesla. Like I get the auto brake and all that stuff, but like it's still, if you wanted to, you could push that thing to 130 miles per hour.
Yeah.
Mm.
If you
More-
wanted to.
On most of them, yeah.
Yeah, like all those Teslas, they're quick, man.
What did you say though? What were we getting into? You said something about Apple versus
Yeah,
Android.
just being a basic phone. See, if you're gonna use an Android, you want the customization. It's just the mass general population doesn't want the extra customization. They don't care about
Yeah.
all that. They
That's
just
what I
want a
like on the
basic phone.
Android, dude, is all the extra
Yeah,
customization.
yeah. And if you're gonna use that, definitely go Android. But I'm just like, I'd just rather be able to transfer all my information just like simple, and then
Yeah.
Apple's just basic. I don't use anything extra.
Like I just went and bought the S22 Plus.
Yeah.
From Galaxy. I mean, it's a nice phone. I mean, the camera's a lot better than what they used to be
Mhm.
because them old Android photos used to be dog water.
I guess the main question that I would come up with is like, if you have this product, how, like, for example, like a computer, like if you buy a computer, I buy my computer, I build it, I do all this stuff with it. I like messing with it.
Yep.
But like with cars, I don't like messing with my car. I want my car to work. I want to get it from point A to point B. But some people love messing with their car. So this difference is like we're moving into a world where it's like you don't have that customization, but you also have less worry about. Like if you don't give a shit about it, you don't have to worry about going into your car and fixing that thing up. Like with Teslas, like they can.
And
if
that's what Elon's trying to do. He's trying to make your Tesla like you walk up to it, the door opens automatically, you get in, it knows to put it in drive or reverse. Like if you're facing the house, it
Yeah.
knows to automatically put it in reverse. You hit the get like they're basically trying to make it as basic and simple.
But
as
that would
possible.
just make life so boring, in my opinion.
Yeah. And then if you want to drive a car, then you know it's like Android. You'd go with an Android or something.
Yeah, I'd go with a
something
Honda.
lesser.
Yeah.
But-
No, I mean it's like you know like how long it takes to fix Teslas with like a little bit of
probably
damage.
like a ridiculous amount.
So,
of
like,
money.
My buddy, he was in foster care, and his foster care parent had a like Model 3 or
Mhm.
whatever, and she like tapped it into like a grocery, or it was like one of the shopping cart things.
Mhm.
Thing was gone for like a month and a half.
My new car, it came, they damaged the bumper
Yeah.
on arrival, and it's been in the shop. They fixed it, and then something went wrong again. But I don't know, has it been
they
2
dropped
weeks
off the
now?
jack?
I mean, that's the thing with the newer
Another week or
cars,
two,
man. They
yeah.
just take forever. Like older stuff, dude. Like, I just feel like older stuff you can tinker easier with.
Mhm.
There's not as many
Yeah, yeah.
computers.
I
and
think
stuff
that's
on
what
it.
happened. They swapped the bumper out, and then
Yeah.
there were some plastic clips or something that broke, so they had to reorder other stuff.
No,
And
is that Civic a manual?
it's the SI. Yeah,
Ooh,
it's fun.
that's the thing too. They're trying to outlaw manuals.
Yeah.
It almost feels like,
Well,
man.
One of these, like they're slowly getting away. It's like the
I
WRX.
hate it, man. Like
The
all these
WRX is
like, dude,
electric now.
big rigs are all
STI.
automatic now.
Yeah.
I hate it, man. Like in a concrete mixer, it's better because I sit.
Really, big rigs are automatic.
A lot of them are.
Wow.
There aren't a lot of like automatic big rigs. Like I know a guy that just bought a brand new 22
Yeah.
Peterbilt. Thing's got a 8-speed automatic in it.
I didn't think they would do that.
Allison's. Like my concrete mixer's automatic.
Yeah.
But my concrete, it makes sense in a concrete mixer. The engine's all the way in the back when you're in
Yeah.
the front. But like even, in a lot of the newer rigs and stuff, they're just
But
not mine either.
I'm here buzzing.
No, it's Kenzie calling down.
Oh.
But
the,
but no, like dude, big rigs are becoming automatics now, and a lot of truckers are upset by that. They're like it depends. If you're just getting on the road and driving, like all the brand new Freightliners and stuff that these guys are getting, like their CDLs out of like
Mhm.
cereal boxes and stuff, and they're just getting thrown behind the wheel. And they're like, all right, you're gonna drive point A to B on the freeway the whole time. They want an automatic, but if you're coming up through like Tennessee and all that stuff, and all the mountains around here, you want to be in a manual. You have way more control of your vehicle, your transmission. You can gear it down a lot better. So a lot of these like old school truckers are very upset by them becoming automatics, but a lot of these guys are like, oh, well, I like automatic.
what's up?
I was gonna say, it seems like a lot of this stuff is. Have you guys ever heard of the Paradox of Choice? It's like a book written in 2004.
No, I haven't.
So the idea is like this book basically says like the worst thing or the worst thing for human society is like having so many things
Too
and worrying
many
about so many
choices,
choices. Yeah. So the idea is like with a lot of technology nowadays, it's getting to where we don't have to care about like what this like we just have to care about what it does. We don't have to care about why it works or why it does this. Like I don't know how my phone works. I turn it on, it does what I need to do.
Yeah.
Like I can care more about what I want to care about.
That's
or
on
what-
99% of the stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like it seems like that's what we're moving nowadays.
But it's like it is too. Some people like that choice, man. They like knowing about things, like how
But it-
things work, and they
but it's like-
want to know how to fix them.
It's like going into a gas station, you see a whole rack of candy, and you're like, what do I choose? When
Yeah.
if you walked in, there were 3 choices, I think it's
It'd be a little bit easier.
That's the thing. It's like people are more enjoy. There's not as much fear of missing out. Where
Yeah.
you're like,
Mhm.
you're like, well, I only had 3 choices, so it's like,
So what do you guys? Sorry, I just got the baby asleep.
No, you're good. We're talking about we were on the talk about how like big rigs are all everything's becoming automatic and choices are getting removed almost.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. Well, the other thing too, along with like the electric truck thing, that was
Yep.
a while ago. But a lot of people were saying that like the whole big rigs that are electric are going to be difficult also. And then that's
I'd
not even
believe
to
it.
mention like the whole self-driving thing and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But what was it again? What was the
We were talking about how like choices are getting removed, like you know,
car? Like no more manual cars.
yeah, like no more minute. Like
Dude,
dude, big like I was telling Scotty, them big rigs are all coming in automatics now.
Did you guys see the picture and it shows oh, sorry I'm blocking you, Scotty, but it shows all the car manufacturers SUVs and they make them all white and then they take off the rims and they just put like a disc over them and they like they're indistinguishable from each other, like they all look the same.
Yep.
And then you like look at like just take like a Toyota Corolla or a Camry, almost every sedan type car looks, if you like made them all the same color and put like basic rims on them or the same rim, they almost all look identical.
Yeah.
Like everything looks the same. Like is it homogenized? Is that the right word?
Right.
It's like everything is just the same. And I'm for me, I've always been like my favorite thing to do and like in life is take something I own, something that's mine, and like modify it to like make it unique. My same thing with my cars. Like all my cars I've had, I've always modified them some sort of way to make them unique, and that might be, changing out the stock radio or rims or different springs or, more power or an air filter. Just making it personal,
Right.
and all of that is like going away.
One of the main things I think that we need to kind of like get into, because I feel like we're talking about the what, like why do we think the industry is doing this? Like that's what I want to ask you, or like
What do you think?
like why do you guys think that the industry is moving in this direction of like you have less choice now? Like
More money.
Do you
I-
like more money?
More money and more
Yeah.
control.
This I think that if you can market something to a larger audience
Mhm.
and everything looks more similar, you don't have well, I mean, you're an engineering, major. You graduated, you have your degree, and I'm currently doing that. And if you need to make a mold or a die or something, you have all these different parts, you need multiple molds, multiple drawings. You need multiple engineers working on each individual product, to whereas if you're like, hey, we can make this one part and that works for all of our models, and then another car company calls up and like, hey, we want to make this part right here that does, let's just say it's a radio, right? Let's just use that for example. And they call up the molding company like, oh, well, we did this one for GE, and if we just change this little piece right here, or like GM, we made this radio for GM, and we can make the same thing for you. You just have to modify the mold a little bit. It'll save you, $50,000. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's do that. And I just think it's then you have like less supplies on the shelves and stuff like that, and it's easier to make all the shipping, and it makes things easier, especially when you have a larger like audience. To whereas look at it from like a shoemaker's perspective. Back in the day, you'd have like a shoemaker in the hometown, and everyone would come to him and be like, hey, I need you to fix this or change this. And it was everybody in that town, and that was his specialty. Well, now if you're making shoes, and maybe shoe isn't the perfect item to use, but now people are making shoes and they're being sold to, I could be making shoes at my house and I could be selling to somebody in California, Canada, Russia, all over the world. And so I can't make a custom shoe for every single different place.
Right.
It'd be better off making this one particular shoe and selling it to anybody who's interested around the whole world. So I think money is a large motive. There might be other motives too.
I would almost argue the idea that like the reasons why these things are the way they are is because it's more of a reflection of like what people want. Like because I feel like if you go into any other country, like for example like India, they have completely different cars, probably the same manufacturers. It's mainly because these people want these types of cars. Like for example,
Right.
like they probably want compacts in Europe. So like all the cars are compacts, you know. Here we want big trucks, so trucks are sold like crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The idea is like this change in amount of choice we have probably is more a reflection of like what people want to see. You know, like maybe the companies can make more money off of it, but I think it's more like this is what people don't want to fuck with their car. You know, if they're like,
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. I think that I don't know what exactly it is, but I have this feeling like people just want to be less involved with stuff,
Yeah.
and it's I think it's partly from like the culture of, give me the pill that fixes the situation, just give me the pill, just give me the car that fixes my issues, just send the car away to have somebody else fix it, call someone to build my house, call somebody to fix my plumbing, call someone to fix my electrical, and it's just like I think that's the world we're kind of going towards. And
Depends on what you're into, though.
Yeah.
what do you mean?
Like like when I wanted a computer, I just got a computer. I don't know maybe a year ago now. I don't know how long it's been. 6 months.
probably been 6 months.
6 months. But
You
when I
came
wanted a
to the dark
computer,
side.
I was just like, dude, I'll just buy one online. Like, I don't care. And then I had Matthew go through and customize the entire thing for me. And then I basically just bought whatever he said. Like, I didn't care. I just wanted it built, wanted a decent computer. It's not really my thing to like know about that. But I'm sure when you built your computer or when Matthew builds his, he researches, does,
Oh yeah, for
So
sure.
Yeah,
it's
you
kinda-
built
it's
you built
kinda
your
your thing.
computer. I remember when you first built your computer.
That was
It was
3 years ago.
back when you were in the big house.
Oh yeah.
And then a lot of people, when they want cars, they just buy a basic car. They don't really care. Like I wanted my SI, my certain specific.
Yeah, you wanted a custom
No,
man. You
it's
got
a
the
little bit
manual.
more-
You got
yeah.
it's
It's
probably
a little
got the
bit
wing
more
on
rare
it.
than the average Civic out there.
Right.
But
And
I guess that's just my personality too. Like, I don't. Maybe it's an independence thing. I don't know exactly what it is, but I don't want anybody telling me anything. Like if
Yeah.
like okay, just for instance, right? One of my friends was like, "Hey, do you edit your videos?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course I do." And he's like, "Why don't you just find some?" He goes, "I just have some kid in India edit them for $3 a piece." And I'm like, because if he sends me something and I don't like it, I want to be able to fix it. And he's like, just send it back to him and have him fix it. And I'm like, no, I'd just rather do it myself.
A lot of people, like those guys who get videos, they typically have like 3 or 4 different people they go to, and they get like a style of editing they like, and then they choose those people. So I feel like, yeah, you can do like a lot of editing stuff, or you can find somebody who you like, who you can trust to do that one thing, maybe.
Yeah, for sure. But it's like, okay, you guys have all heard the joke of like, the lady who walks into the car garage and the guy's like, well, what's wrong with your vehicle? And she goes, what like makes like this noise? And like the
Ring
dude,
ding
like,
ding
yeah, like,
ding ding
like
ding
the
ding.
guy like laughs at her. I never want to be that person.
Yeah.
I want to be the person who walks in and be like, I'm pretty sure, my battery's bad, but it could be the alternator. And and because to me, if somebody was coming to me and they were like, hey, I want that stuff that you put up on, your ceiling. What are you talking about? That stuff, that trim that you put up there, crown molding. Yeah, that stuff. Like, if you're coming to me asking, and I'll take the job and I'll get paid for it, whatever. But I just think it's like, it's just lazy of you to not even have a clue.
It like almost irks you.
Yeah.
It's like you know so much about it.
it depends on what it is. If my water heater's going out, and I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm looking at when it comes to water heater.
No, yeah, for
Like,
sure.
like, so you
for
call
sure.
a guy that works on those to come look at it. It depends on how in depth you are.
Well,
I would probably try research it myself because I'm in, I do
Yeah.
construction and stuff. But
Well, like YouTube
for-
would tell you how to change a
Yeah,
water
yeah.
heater. Like all
Yeah.
there's all that stuff on the
yeah, but
internet.
I'm
Or-
just on the most basic
yeah.
level. Like if it's something you want, like, or need to have done or whatever, to me, it's like, to me personally, it's just like a courtesy thing. Like if I want you to someday, whenever I have the money, to do a tile shower for me. Like I'm gonna go through and me and Mackenzie are gonna talk and we're gonna figure out what color grout we want.
Yeah.
What style tile we want, how we kind of want it laid out, what we want for the floor.
Mhm.
If I need to extend it, I'm going to go figure out what glass I'm going to use, if I'm going to have a door, what kind of drain. And so I can come to you and be like, hey, this is kind of what we're looking at. This is kind of what we're thinking. What do you think? So it's not like you pretty much like babying me through the process. I can at least have some sort of knowledge, like, or I have a fiberglass shower right now. I'm gonna cut the freaking shower out and rip it out before you even come.
I feel like that's the way you grew up, though. Too.
It
Yeah.
is.
Like
My dad is very
Yeah.
much like that.
Yeah, it's like my dad. He has an old box fan. I don't know what year, it's 97 or something. But so the door on the box fan was like rotting through. You could like put your fist through the door, or put your hand through the door. There was rotting a hole. And he's like, I don't know if it was like $800, $1,000 for a new door. And he's like, I'm not paying that. So he goes and he buys like an expensive board. I don't know if he had like $200 in material, but he rebuilt the door, took all the hinges off and everything, and just redid it himself. Like,
That's
and
cool.
I feel like that's where I would have just personally, which I would have just been like, went to a shop, just had them order a new door and just rebuilt it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that's a different, it matters what,
A
right up your alley kind of thing.
part of it for me is money too. Like this table cost me $75.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
just built it yourself.
Yeah, I just built it myself.
Sheesh.
Now it's could be a million times better.
But you also enjoy doing that. Like you enjoyed the process of it too.
I
It wasn't.
hated it.
You hated it.
No, yeah, I
Oh,
did
man.
not like it. Like I was
You
out in my
gotta-
freaking driveway. I'm like, Dad, bring some of the tools over, and we're sitting there cutting. I'm like, let's just get this done as quick as we can.
I don't know. This thing looks like it's fresh out of IKEA.
Shit, better than damn IKEA. But like, it could have been bigger. It should have been bigger. I should have gotten two of these, and then and put them together to make this table like wider, because we can't sit at the table, and like I can't sit like this. We're like holding hands right here, and I want it to be like if you had a pen and paper in front of you and I had a pen and paper, there'd be a comfortable amount of
I
space.
mean, do you want to hold hands? I mean,
No, I don't want to hold hands.
well,
with your-
there goes my dream.
show the people your
That's
finger.
for the late night
Oh,
podcast.
I should. Oh man, we should. Can we off topic a little bit, just so people know about my finger?
Yeah, we can.
So back at the beginning of the year, the camera can't really.
Oh.
Yeah, it can. Look at that.
permanently like
that thing is not. Yeah, it's screwed.
Oh my goodness.
So it's thinking.
Hold the scar up though to the
Oh,
camera.
yeah. You can kind of see it.
Well, I can go like this too.
Yeah, you got that thing. But
Can you
anyways,
bend it?
yeah, I can bend. It
Can you
works.
Open it up completely now.
No, not at all.
Oh no.
The tendon's screwed. So my finger, for people who are watching, I work in concrete. I drive a concrete mixer from Metrocon in Greer, South Carolina. I love it.
Sorry, forgot to turn my extra lighting on.
Heck yeah, that's sweet. So now we'll show that bad boy. Yeah, gnarly scar.
That's like the guy from Scary Movie.
It's like ET, dude. This thing would sing, and it's like got special powers. If I touched you with it, you'd probably be fucked up the rest of your life. But I decided to put my hand inside my concrete mixer drum. I don't know why I did that. I was messing with like the water adder, and there's like a metal water adder, that stemmed from a valve down on the bottom of your water tank. And I was up there messing with that because it was froze over, and I was banging it, and the fin just caught it perfectly. Because the concrete mixer drums have big metal fins, and they're razor sharp almost. And it caught it on the water adder, and the fin broke it clean through the middle right here. And out of reaction of me going, oh shit, my finger's broken, I jerked back, and it degloved it from here all the way down to right above my fingernail. And it was hanging off, and the bone was broken.
If you don't know what degloving a finger is or
It's-
looks like, look it up on Google.
It's horrendous.
But
It's
be
horrific.
advised, it's gross.
Like, I wish I could show the picture on here of mine, but it would probably get this taken down.
Imagine your skin's the glove.
Yeah, just yeah.
You're taking your glove off.
But I remember I was in such shock that I was taking the tip of my finger and I was moving it back and forth, and I could see me moving my bone in and out of place,
Oof.
like from where it was broken. So there's a tendon that runs across the top of your finger. It helps straighten your fingers like this and stuff. And the tendon got broke, whatever, and they were like, yeah, it's got like a 50-50 shot of making it. And I was like, okay, is there anything I can increase that shot? And they were like, no, it's just kind of a game of luck. And I was like, okay, cool. I got the bad 50%. And so now I
Hold
have
it up again. Hold it up again.
so now I have
Move the other fingers.
ET finger the rest of my life.
So they can't re-break that though and try to fix it.
I wouldn't let somebody re-break this thing. Are you kidding me? It's not a break. It's a tendon.
Oh,
Have to
okay.
not a
reattach a
bone.
tendon. Yeah, problem.
Yeah, which the tendon? They said the tendon's done for, donezo.
Oof.
They
That
couldn't.
sucks.
They couldn't work on it.
No,
You could probably get like a implant, like rubber one or something, right?
I mean I would like for them to put like a stent in it to make it. I'd rather just have it fully straight almost, but it, So like when I point at people, I have
Has
to
it
hold my
affected
hand
your
like.
life a lot or not really? Oh, that's your right hand too.
I know it is. Riding, the first bit of riding was really weird, but like really, I don't
What about
even.
pulling the trigger.
I can pull a trigger with it. it's just, but like, you know, on jet skis, we have over the top fingers. Like, this thing hurts so bad at the end of jet ski days.
Oof.
Like, just aches. So I can't imagine in like 10 years, like, this thing will probably have arthritis, like, really bad.
Arthur, write this.
This thing will have arthritis,
Have you guys? Okay. Oh, hold on. Totally off topic again.
but I like it. It's fun.
Have you ever seen on? I remember a long time ago. I used to watch his videos, and I would die laughing. It was Joe Santagato. I think that's how you say his name. on
Yeah,
YouTube.
we
used to watch it.
Me and you used to watch it so
So
much.
he used to like idiots. He used to have like this YouTube videos called like Idiots of the Internet, and he'd
Yes.
just look at people's like Twitter posts
Oh,
and
that
stuff.
guy. Yeah.
And I remember watching him and just dying laughing.
That
And
was
one
so
of them
funny.
was, "I have Arthur write this," and I'm like, "You have got to be kidding me!" And then the other one is, "I'm mad at my mom. She coffin skated my phone." And then he had like a little like emoji of like a coffin with like roller skates on it, and I'm like, I laugh so hard, and I partly laugh because like I suck at spelling and a lot of the stuff with like spelling shit. I'm like, I
Right.
could have totally done that.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I don't have Twitter.
But it's like so hilarious too.
Oh, it's so funny.
Like bone apple teeth.
But yeah,
I remember
bone
that
apple
one.
teeth.
Yeah.
That was a good one. All right, so what else? What else we got?
Scotty,
else?
you need to bring up a
Yeah.
topic, big dog.
Bring up a topic.
Yeah.
In terms of like the whole like expertise thing, you're talking about like whenever you talk to somebody, you want to like have them understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
A lot of that comes down to wording. Like you don't really need to know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm talking to somebody about computers and like, oh, I opened up the control panel and I tried to turn it on through this, and I'm like, if you said something more like I turned on the BIOS and I booted it up through this, I'd be like, this guy knows what he's talking about. But if you use like words like control panel instead of BIOS, I'm like, this guy's kind of a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. Vocabulary and wording and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
It's so important.
It's part of the basics.
Yeah.
I would say.
See, like I could tell you guys a lot about like tinkering with motors and stuff, but if you put like a computer in front of me, I'd be like, I don't know.
Well, you need to get better at computers then.
Well, you need to get better at motors,
I'm good at motors.
bitch boy.
I've done all the parts on my own car.
You also got 8 years on me of life.
Touche.
Yep.
But I'm the type of person I would just say, not that everyone has to be like me or anything like that.
No.
But I would just say, the best person I think is just a well-rounded person. And you don't have to be super into exercise or super into motors or super into computers, but just have a basic common knowledge,
Yep.
And some people they'll get a basic common knowledge of computers and they're like, yeah, don't really care though. But you should be at least, you should know how to pull up a Word document, write an email, like, stuff like that. Download something or install something.
It's like the idea of like having an open mind. It's like a lot of people look at something like it stresses them out because it's like, oh, I don't know this shit. Like Scotty used to not be able to write a fucking email because he was like, this stuff stresses me out.
It's not that I didn't know how to. I just get irritated with like that type
Yeah.
of stuff.
Well,
Now
like-
I know. Now I can just do it. It's
Yeah, like,
easy,
it's
but
super
it's
easy.
just like I just don't have any interest in doing that.
Yeah,
Matthew, do you know how to write a check?
I have no idea how to write.
Me
shit.
either.
Ask my
Really?
mom.
Yeah, we
Ask
don't.
my
We
mom,
don't.
Too.
Yeah, I
You
don't.
worked at Quality Foods. You didn't write people's checks.
Nope.
No.
I just filled the shit in. They just told me where to write it.
Yeah, but you don't remember that.
I have no idea.
I mean, I could probably write one if I really needed to, but like, I don't. I've never had a checkbook. You've never had a checkbook either, have you? Have you
Whenever
guys
I
had
need a
check-
check, you go into the bank, you ask for a cashier's check,
Yeah.
Oh, really?
and then they'll cut the check for you. You
Yeah.
just tell them
I've
what
done
to write it
I've
to.
done that, but
But-
I do have my checkbook still.
You know, usually you have to pay for
That's
them.
the thing, though. Nobody really uses check. I get checks a lot in the.
Screensaver.
Maybe.
With the mouse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I get checks a lot, and like
Yeah, I know a lot about computers. I can help you out.
we were all. It was so funny. We were all sitting here like, but
Screen goes black.
I mean, I still
what
get
to
a
do.
lot of checks from like, when people pay for concrete, they'll
Yeah.
be like, here's a check for $6,000. I've had someone hand me like $7,000 cash, and
Oof.
I was like scared shitless because I stopped at the gas station. I was like, I really hope I don't get robbed right
I don't
now.
like having that much money on you.
Yeah, dude, it's scary.
What's the most money you've ever had on you?
Ooh.
I'm looking at Scotty because I
You're
know
looking at me.
You've never had shit.
Yeah, I ain't never had check growing up.
When I had a $29,000 check when I better bought my car. You know what
Really?
I mean, that was like a big check.
Was it like endorsed though? Like, cause if it's
It was a
endorsed,
cashier's check, so I mean,
Yeah.
it was to them.
What about cash?
But I don't really,
I got a good story.
I don't really want to. But I the other day, I don't know. I had like $6,000 on me the other day at a job.
Damn. Most cash I've ever had on me at one point in time was like 10 grand.
Yeah.
That's
See,
when
that's
I
scary.
bought my Subaru.
I would be so nervous.
I think I've held 15 cash before. I think I don't remember exactly, but 10,000 like isn't like a. I've held 10 before just
Dang.
recently,
Dang, you guys are big time balling.
but not like I don't know. I don't really like to have a lot of cash though.
No, I don't
It's like,
either.
what do you do with it?
Spend it.
Spend it.
I remember Scotty one time. He was buying his Xbox 360. I was like 8 years old. He might have been like 13. He had $510, $530, whatever the Xbox was.
I love
He puts it in my hand. And I'm like holding it. I'm like, I was like 8 years old. I probably counted it and I was like, oh, this is a lot of money. And he's like, he takes it back from me. He's like, you'll never hold that much money again in your life.
Whenever I get a check for work, I let him hold it.
There you go.
Biggest check you'll ever hold.
You'll never hold that much money again.
Never
How old
in
are
your
you?
life.
8?
I was like, hey, yeah. I was like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Dude, back then, man, I remember, dude, like $20 was the shiznit.
I remember one time I lost $20. My mom slapped me. She gave me like $20 to like go to the hockey rink and like pay for hockey and get some food or something. And I lost the $20 while I was there.
Oh, she backhanded
Oh,
you
she
back
was
to
so
Jesus, didn't
mad.
she?
And I'm like, $20. That's so much freaking money.
Yeah.
we're gonna lose the house.
20
Yeah, yeah, we're gonna lose the house.
$20 isn't even like a quarter of gas in your tank.
Oh, jeez,
Not
yeah.
anymore.
The new $20 is a $100 bill.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, I used to think that $10 was a lot of money.
Mhm.
Okay, real quick. I remember one time I like ran downstairs. I'm like, Dad, how many dimes does it take to make $1? And he's like, 10. I'm like, all right. I ran back upstairs. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm like, holy shit, I have a freaking dollar. Like, off a people threw this dollar on the ground and I picked it up. Like, how could you ever throw a whole dollar on the ground? Because it was just, I'd like change.
Yeah.
Like, I'd find like pennies and stuff on the ground. And so I had found 10 dimes. I had 10 dimes. And I was like, legit, was so blown away that I had found a whole dollar on the ground. And I like ran it down to him like, can you count this for me and make sure that it's $1? And he's like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's $1. Like, what's the big deal? I
Like,
was
beat it, kid. So you both have been at work all day and you're out and you're bugging me about $1. No, I had a buddy. I still have a buddy. You remember my buddy Mikey?
Yeah.
He's still thinking we'll pick up change off the ground, dude.
Really?
Oh yeah, he's a stinge.
Oh,
His baby's about to be here soon, so I get it. He's stinging real hard now.
What's the saying? If you don't pick up a penny, you're not worth a penny.
oh,
Ooh, that's a good one.
that is a good one.
Yeah, but I
That's
know
for
I'm
Bill
not.
Gates.
I know I'm not worth shit. So I mean, was that Bill Gates?
No,
No, no,
what
it's
was
not
the
Bill
old
Gates.
the old saying? Like, if Bill Gates bent over to pick up $100 bill off the ground,
Not worth his time.
Yeah, it's not worth his time. 'Cause
Really?
Yeah,
He's
because it's
constantly making that much money.
yeah he makes like someone just figured out how much money he makes like per year, and then they figured out how much money he makes like per second,
Yeah.
and then if he took him 5 seconds to bend down, like stop his day, bend down, pick up $100 bill, it wouldn't be worth it for him. And then I've always been of the opinion of bullshit. He's just walking
Yeah.
and he's bending down. He's still just getting $100 bill. Like, I've never liked that
Mhm.
argument about that.
My boss knew a guy that actually met Bill Gates, and he said Bill Gates is the biggest fucking douche canoe you could ever meet in your life.
They all were. All those guys are.
Because so his buddy, my boss is like from Toledo in Ohio, Toledo, and his buddy was a limo driver in Detroit. Bill Gates flew into Detroit, and he was his limo driver for the whole day. And dude was the biggest, just dick, just stinge. Like, he was mad he had to pay an extra service to keep this, like, extra money to keep this limo all day. And he's like, you kept my limo all day. Like, what do you expect? You're gonna have to pay more. And he's just like, dude, he's a big stinge. And I was like, bro, you're such a bozo.
I heard that a lot of people are like that. Like
Yeah.
Steve Jobs, like all them guys, they had to be like super cutthroat, super dickish, because if they were the leader or the boss, nothing got done if they weren't like that. So that
It's like if you're building a house, like the builders, if every sub charged you an extra $50 or $100,
mhm.
you're building 100 houses a year. That shit adds up. So a lot of, you
Yeah, a
can't
lot of
let
people-
anything slide.
Yeah, you start
Basically.
letting stuff slide, you get screwed.
But
All right, Scotty, we're waiting for you.
waiting for me.
Yeah.
You don't know a thing that I learned the other day. I used it on I was telling someone, I was like so you start with the negative, like I was like, oh, I'm looking busy. I'm looking like I'm busy this week, and then you throw the but in, and then you say but I might be able to have some, I'll see if anything opens up instead of, I'm trying to think of how to word it. So you basically start with the negative that you're not going to show up, and then you say, but there's a chance I will, rather than I'll see if I can get it. I can get there, but it's looking like I can't,
Oh.
you know? It's like,
Mm.
it's looking like I can't be there this week, but I'll see if I
Yeah.
can squeeze you in this week,
Yeah.
you know? That way, it's, it works better.
I like that. Because
Little thing.
are you trying to make fun of me? Because I'm
But-
always like
Yeah.
screwing up schedules.
You can let me down easier. It doesn't hurt me as bad.
Yeah.
Oh man. Well, what about? Okay. Well, tell us about the video you sent me yesterday because that was pretty good stuff too.
Good soup.
Oh, the angry video.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You sent it to me and I watched it. I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty dang good.
Yeah.
I liked it.
So basically the guy was it's Abraham Twersky or something like that. He's on I think he's dead now. I think he died in 21. I'm not sure, but he was like some old rabbi. Really
Jewish rabbi.
Jewish rabbi. Yeah. And really seems like he's a nice, genuine guy. And he has all these short videos on YouTube. Somebody posted them for him.
Filled
Yes.
with wisdom.
2, 3, 4 minute videos and some longer ones, but he talks about anger, and it's like he talks in depth, but basically what he says is like if somebody's angry, or no, somebody cuts him off in traffic, and your
Yeah.
first thought is be angry at the guy, be whatever, and then he said his dad would say that basically he's like, man, what a fool that man was, like if only he knew what he did was wrong. I forgot. I don't know the exact video.
Yeah, he would just, instead of like being like super angry or like mad at the guy,
No.
he'd just be like, "Wow, that guy was a fool."
feel bad for him basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then the thing that he said, like the way he broke down anger, he's like, anger is your like emotion, like this is how you feel.
Right.
There's 3 phases of
yeah,
anger.
the 3 phases, and then rage is how you
there's,
react.
There's anger is the feeling.
Yep.
And then there's rage is the reaction, and then there's resentment, which is like how long you're gonna stay angry.
Yeah.
He's like, you're gonna stay angry for 5 minutes, 5 years, 20 years.
Yeah, when he said 20, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oof, man!" Like there are some people.
There are people that hold
Yeah.
grudges like that.
And he's like, it's like letting someone live in your head rent free. And he's like, I'm not that nice of a person to let someone live in my head rent free.
Yeah, there ain't no need.
And all it is doing is hurting you. If you're just constantly stewing about it all the time.
I was talking to my grandpa the other day,
Oh,
and he
that
said,
dude is full of wisdom.
yeah, he said he had a friend, and this friend's like on his deathbed. I think
Yep.
he was sick, and he was really old, and he said that he hadn't talked to his brother in like 25 years or something, and they had some disagreement or argument or whatever, and they just never talked. And he said, I can't remember if this part's true or not, but he said they lived like 10 miles apart from each other. They lived in the same small town in New Hampshire, and they never talked, nothing. And he finally like called his brother and talked to him for like a couple hours, like the last couple days he was alive. And I was like, at least he called him and they kind of patched things up and they talked and everything was all good. But I'm like, man, 25 years.
Yeah.
You're like holding on to that for that long.
There's people that do. Like, they wake up and they think about it. And it's like, dude, I wake up and I don't even know what I'm going to eat. And you're waking up thinking about somebody you're mad at, bro. Come on now.
And I think as far as men too, I don't think anger is wrong. Like I don't. Think,
It's a natural emotion.
Yeah, I don't think it's like wrong. I think people should get angry. Like
There's
Right.
no wrong feelings, but there's wrong actions.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how you
Correct.
react
Yeah.
to that.
yeah, the way you react to it is all about. But I think anger is just as important as being sad or being happy or whatever. Like there should be certain things that make you angry. Like if you see a kid being abused, like as a man, like that should piss you off. Like you should be angry about it. It's okay to be angry about that. Now, how you react to it is the important part, and then how you hang on to it also is more important. But as far as just the emotion that in itself, there's obviously some people who need anger management and stuff like that. I know a few of those people. Used to be one of those people, but you guys are probably wondering what happened right here.
What'd you do to that?
There, that was a spit of anger that I had in the ice rink, and there was fisticuffs thrown.
Oh, you threw a fight and I didn't even hear about it?
You should have been there.
I'm trying
But I feel like that can happen. I mean, you're skating around. Tension's already high. So you're,
yeah. It was definitely
and
chippy.
it's an aggressive.
Did you lose or what?
No,
You beat the shit out of him.
You lying?
no.
Okay, good.
I'll tell you the full story later. I don't want to say it on here because
Yeah.
it's kind
Call
of
him out.
It's
Call
kind
him
of
out.
stupid.
No.
Drop his address. I got his IP address.
Yeah,
Wait.
let's get all these 10 people that are about to watch this. Let's tell them the story. No,
Whoa. Might be 15. Hey.
well, 15 people watch this. It's most like okay. How about this?
All right.
If most people that listen to this are going to be people that I or we know.
Correct.
If somebody who does not know any of us, someone from the outside world, listens to this and they want to know the story, I will either post a video of the whole story or I will let them personally call me on Discord and I will tell them the whole story if they want to know that bad. It's not even that great of a story, but if they really want to know, they could put a comment down in the freaking comment section and I can get a hold of them and tell them the story if they really want to know that bad. But most people, they can just call me and ask me what the story is, but I just don't.
Make sure you like and subscribe
Yeah,
for more content.
yeah, there you go. That.
Leave a thumbs up.
But but I really do think that like some men should be more angry about stuff. And there's some men who should be definitely less angry. Like, you shouldn't be a hothead, obviously. But
But you shouldn't let yourself get walked on.
yeah, exactly. You should be angry about injustices or
Yep.
maybe not anger, but like being able to stand up for yourself. Like if if somebody's trying to walk all over you, or if someone's trying to take advantage of you, or whatever, because if you should let that piss you off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this person is trying to do like, okay, well, real quick, tell us what happened with you at work the other day.
Which one? I get angry at work a good bit.
Well, about putting in your 2 weeks.
Oh, so
Yeah.
uh,
That's a perfect example, and I feel
yeah.
like you dealt with it in a great way.
yeah, the concrete company, they have this thing called a yardage bonus, and then you have your regular safety bonus. Your safety bonus is $500. It comes every quarter, as long as you're safe and don't get in too much trouble, don't mess up, all that stuff. And then the yardage bonus is if you haul the most yards, you get an extra $250. You can earn $750 a quarter, in theory. So, I hit a mailbox this quarter. I backed into that thing and I just knocked it off the post, and I was like, "Are you kidding me?" So I did the right thing, and I called my plant and I said, "Hey, I hit a mailbox," and they were like, "What mailbox? Just drive back here." I was like, "Okay." So then the boom pump operator ended up ratting me out. So I was like, I got back and he was like, "Yeah, you need to go talk to that guy about his mailbox." I was like, "Motherfucker," and so either way, the mail end of the short and story, mailbox ended up costing $300. And I was in the office one day and I was talking to my regional manager and my boss. And I said, "Yeah, I really hope I get my yardage bonus." I was like, "I hope I get my yardage bonus and I get my safety bonus." And they said, "Well, if you lose your safety bonus for hitting something, you lose your yardage bonus too." And I looked at them and I said, "You would receive my 2 weeks notice, because that's not fair. You can't take a yardage bonus, something I busted chops for, and that I blew everybody out by 8 days worth of work."
Yeah, so your yardage bonus means like you were the top.
Correct. I held 2,300 yards.
Yeah.
The closest person
in a quarter,
in
right?
a quarter. And the closest person that got second hauled 2,050 yards. So in theory, if you divide it up to all the numbers, it's about eight days of worth of work.
So you were like 8 days ahead of
8 days
the
ahead of
closest
people,
person.
essentially.
So because you hit something and you're losing your safety part
Yeah.
of the bonus, they're saying, "Oh yeah, if you lose that, then you automatically lose."
Well, I shouldn't even really lose my safety bonus, because we had a guy last quarter who ruined 3 loads worth of concrete, which amounted to $4,500 of damages before he lost his bonus. So I'll probably, if I don't get my safety bonus, I'll probably end up putting in my 2 weeks anyways, just because there's a lot of people that hit stuff and just there's a lot of sketchy stuff that goes on that doesn't get caught, and then I
Yeah.
owned up to my stuff and I have to pay the repercussions.
Yeah,
for
and
it.
but in the in what we're talking about too is
Right.
so like it pissed you off.
Yep.
And instead of being like angry, throwing a fit, breaking something, you're like, "Hey, look."
Like, I was angry about it, but I didn't throw a rage and say, "Fuck you guys, I'll quit." I said, "Look,
Yeah.
you will get my 2 weeks notice, because I don't think it's fair that you would take."
Yeah,
my
and
bonus."
so you're not like rolling over
Yep.
for them, and you're standing up, but you're doing it in a good way, and that's how like I think it should be dealt with. And you were angry; it did make you mad.
Yeah.
And it's just you dealt with it in a better way than some people who have anger problems would, or people who would have never said nothing or just said okay.
Yeah.
And then the people are like, "Oh, well, I mean, never have to give this guy his bonus.
Right.
So hopefully you get that. Hopefully
Which I mean, they already took my bonus for this, so I mean, because this was unsafe. So I mean, I'll bite the bullet on that one.
yeah.
Me and my finger
That's very unsafe.
was very unsafe.
All right.
Concrete mixers are very dangerous.
What do you think about anger issues, Matthew?
Um,
You personally have anger issues?
No, I haven't gotten angry in like 2 years. I don't think. Scotty actually made me angry. That was the last time I got angry. He called me and
2
he
years
said,
ago, then, right?
"No, this was about a year ago."
Are you holding on to that grudge then? If it was
No,
1 year ago, and you recall it so
I
long?
haven't-
I don't
It was
remember
weird
this.
because I remember I got angry because he called me. I was waiting for my mouse. I couldn't use my computer for like a week, and I
Oh,
just
yeah,
wanted to
that's
use it
not
so bad. I was like, I just want to play some game. And then Scotty called me. He's like, "Matthew, I got mad. I broke your mouse." He's like, I pulled it out of the box. I had to use it. I broke it.
Because
And like it was so dead ass. I thought he was telling the
I
truth,
used to
and I
break
was like,
stuff all the time too.
I was so
I was younger.
angry. I was like, I hung up on him. Like I can't. Like I was like driving back home, and I was driving to go pick it up, and I was just like, I don't know. Like I've never been angry like that. But yeah, no. Other than that, I don't really get angry. That was like
Wait, it was a joke,
Because,
right?
because yeah, it was a joke.
He
Because
called me
I
back
used
and
to
said it was
always break. Like when I used to play Xbox as a kid, I don't ever get like that mad anymore to break stuff. But I used to take my mic, the little cheap mic, and
Yeah.
just like
dude,
throw
you
it.
break all my
Just
stuff.
Throw controllers, everything would be broken. The controllers, the battery pack would just be loose, and just shut
Guy,
off.
Yeah.
Guy would
Like-
tell me, he'd be like, "Your thing was broken," and I finished it off.
I
I was like,
It was
"You said
already a
yesterday
piece
it was
of shit.
fine."
It was already a piece of shit. I
did you a
we did you a favor.
That's what he'd say, and I was like, I don't know. Other than that, though, I don't think that you can regulate your emotions with like logic. Like I can't be like, I'm angry at this guy who cut me off. So logically, I'm gonna think like, oh well, he's probably in a bad situation, so I probably shouldn't. Like maybe he's. In this.
I think if you get cut off, but if you acknowledge that you're angry and
Yeah.
actually think about it for a few seconds,
Yeah, you have
I
to-
feel like you can
Instead of T-boning him into a tree.
Yeah,
you can calm it down.
you have to regulate your emotions through your
Yeah.
emotions. You can't regulate it through just logic. Like
Yeah.
your brain can't turn off your emotions.
I think you can in a way though. If you stop yourself, you know what I mean. If you can stop yourself or just think about like, why am I actually angry? Like, what is this doing?
Yeah.
And then you can calm it down.
But
with
you
logic.
like, let's say I'm arguing with you and you're angry. Like, Matthew, how the fuck do you believe that? I'm like, well, logically, if you do this, this, and this, you wouldn't be like, oh, that makes sense, Matthew. That's actually pretty
You'd
cool.
be like, "Fuck you," and shut up.
Yeah,
B
like, what the
squared
fuck?
plus B squared equals angry.
if you were actually speaking logic though.
Okay. See, that's exactly how you get an
I tell you what, though, if you do speak logically to somebody, it makes them really mad. Because
Yeah.
some guy was yelling at me the other day at work, and I know this trick where if you just look at them and say, "Hey, we don't have to yell. We're adults. We can talk." like adults," they will. It's just like a switch, just increases it 10 times.
So funny. A lot of it though is like if you're talking to somebody and you know they're wrong, like they're saying some crazy shit, and you just don't know what to say. You're like, I know you're wrong, but I don't know how to prove to you that you're wrong. It's like it's the most angering thing.
Yeah.
You can just be like, "It's okay. Whatever helps you sleep at night," and then walk away. And then
Does it make you
that'll-
angry or just upsetting more so? Are you
I'd say
actually,
those are
like,
like the same
mad?
thing in a way.
It makes
I
me
don't know.
angry.
I think.
I'll go straight out and say it makes me angry.
Yeah, I think upset is like almost like a mourning thing. Like you're mourning something. Like, "Oh man, I was wrong. Dang it." It's like anger. It's like, "Fuck you. I'm right."
I like, and then for me too, there's like certain people who I'm like, it's very difficult for me to like get
Yes.
angry at, and there's certain people who are just way easier to get mad at. And I've gotten a lot better.
I think the closer you are to somebody, the easier you
Yeah,
are to
for
be
sure.
I've gotten a lot
like,
worse.
angry.
Working in construction is just maybe get angry at people a lot easier. Because everybody's just an idiot. Everybody's just out there to hate each other.
If everybody's an
else.
idiot, that means you are too.
I will 100%. I'm the idiot that makes the more money and sits in the AC all day. So you can rake that concrete all you want, buddy. I'll sit in the AC.
Well, why do people make you mad?
Oh, because they think they know how to. It's really. Look, this is how it is. You can either get out there and you can work together as a team and get the concrete off the truck really fast, or I can get out there and you can be like, "Hey, we're not even done forming yet. Why are you not done forming yet? You've known concrete was coming for 2 weeks. Why is this thing not formed yet?"
Shit happens.
No.
No, I agree with it. Yeah, I'd be pissed.
Yeah, like that's.
I
stuff I
think
run
one of the
into.
things that makes me the most mad, and Scotty, you might understand this, Jared, you will too, is when like somebody doesn't do their job, like not doesn't do their job well or something, but when they like totally just like don't do it or they totally drop
Yep.
the ball, especially when you're coming in like behind them
Mm.
and you're fixing other people's problems. That's one thing that like that will get me pissed off.
Right.
And I do my best to be like, well, because I always try to be nice, but it's like, well, they
Mm.
could have had a bad day that day. But then
Yeah.
when it happens all the time, like for one, when we're doing when I'm like installing baseboard and stuff, which I hate doing, I'm like installing it, and the drywall when they mud like the corners, they'll come down the corner and they'll like swoop out like that with their knife, so it leaves this like massive chunk of drywall at the bottom. Well,
Yeah.
then you put your baseboard in, and the baseboard like sits at an angle, and the next piece coming into it, which I'm like, I'm not a perfectionist. It's just with some things I want them to be perfect. So the next piece comes in, and it's like open at the top because of that other board being like that. Well, I get so pissed I just rip everything off the wall and I just smash the shit out of the drywall with my freaking hammer. And it's not just some nice little tap. Like I'm like, if you're wrong, like I'm not talking about person, I'm talking to the freaking wall here. I'm like, if you're wrong, I'm gonna destroy you. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not like gonna tap you and make it work. I'm gonna freaking destroy this drywall and I'm gonna chuck it all over the floor and kick it and spit on it and then I'll install my piece. But that's one of the things that makes me like real mad
Mhm.
is like the people who come before me who just do a suck ass job, and now I'm doing somebody else's job. That used to happen all the time.
Mhm. I
I
got a
hate
little
that.
feud about painters. I have no respect for painters.
Yeah, I remember.
Electricians are almost on that list. I'm pretty sure they stole my broom the other day. Now, I'm not sure if it was them or not. If the painters could have rolled in and nabbed it, actually.
See, that's the thing.
Probably.
I don't deal
Maybe
with
they
none
work
of those.
together.
Yeah,
I remember when I would work with Dallas, dude. It was so stupid. I was like 14, and Dallas was like, "Yeah, go put it in that baseboard," and he would just cut and stuff. And he was like, "Hey, you're gonna hate painters."
Yeah.
And it was always like that. The painters would always fuck shit up or
Oh,
something.
dude, it's bad. Wait, why do you hate painters?
there's just a lot
They
of
get
reasons.
stuff on your tile.
There's a lot of
10
reason.
more minutes.
Oh.
10 more minutes.
10 more.
That means come back tomorrow.
Yeah,
Yeah, don't wait 10 minutes. Just leave.
just get out of there.
They're
Dude.
just always in the way. Just I just don't respect them.
I see. I don't want to sound like an ass too, but that freaking. I have headphones, right? I'm at least respectable to other people around. They find the biggest speaker, and they plug that bitch into the freaking garage, and then and I'm like, I can hear it through my headphones, which I turned all the way up, and I'm half deaf. Like, come on.
I don't know. I love pulling up to the job sites and the Hispanics got the radio going. 'Cause, dude,
How long do you have to hear it for?
30 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
I love
Think
it. I
about
love
8
the
hours.
Hispanic radio, dude. It's
Think
so
about
much fun.
8 hours long of the same beat over and over and over again.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
You're
it's-
saying all the music is the same?
it sounds
Yeah.
the same.
I don't think you can say that,
Yeah.
Probably not.
but oh well.
That's
They probably think the same about our music.
probably, but they don't ever hear my music, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I don't even listen to music. See, like I'm the type of person
I'm
like
elevated. I listen to podcasts.
books.
Bu-
Come on, I listen to books.
Books.
Cooler.
Yeah, books
You-
are cool.
I used to get wedgies. It's cooler. Do you guys remember what movie that's from?
Benchwarmers.
Yeah.
That was a total guess. But
Yeah.
it sounded
Scotty
like
had it. I was
that
just gonna
movie.
look at you like I was stupid for 5 minutes.
Clark used to get beef stew all the time. No, I got wedgies. It's cooler.
Now I remember that. Yeah.
That was a good movie. All right, what else we got? What else we got for today? Anyone else?
Got anything, Scotty?
I don't know. It's like getting angry. I used to get angry because almost for this one builder I worked for, the pipes are always in the wrong spot for the drains.
Yeah.
Always having to move them, and I've just accepted it now. But I used to always get pissed. I'm sitting there chipping up concrete. Having to,
Would you
elbow
have to
over stuff.
re-pour?
I used to use the floor mud to re-pour. Kind of. It depends on how far it is, but it's like a floor mud hardens up like concrete. Basically, it's normally not a whole lot of re-pouring, but
It keeps
Yeah.
that Sacre on standby in the back of that Dodge van, dude.
I didn't even know you bought another Civic. I think you told me, but it
yeah,
hasn't.
I bought it. It was a couple weeks ago now. It's probably 3 weeks ago now. But I only had it for like maybe 5-6 days, and then it went back to the shop to go get fixed.
Well, what was wrong with it?
When it showed up, it had a dent on the or not a dent. It was like a big gash in the front bumper.
Mhm.
They delivered it, and it was like damaged. They sent me a picture. They're like, it's here, but like that part of the bumper was like missing from the picture.
And you were like,
And
"Hey,
then,
where's my bumper?"
Showed up, and then no, it was just a gash in the bumper. But
Oh.
they the way they took the picture, that wasn't there,
Mm.
And then they realized it after. But I'm not even worried about it. I just want the car back.
What about you, Matthew? Have you been just loving your job or what?
It's been pretty good. A lot of it I can't really talk about, but it's
Classified.
yeah, it's not an NDA. It's classified. It's very important stuff. No, it's a lot of fun. A lot of it's really big picture stuff. So the stuff that I'm doing is like they could be like 20-year projects, and I'm working on one sheet for this one thing that we may never look at again. But it also could be the most important sheet in the thing. So it seems really boring, but a lot of it's really cool to think like I'm working on this massive project, and this is something that you can go and look up in the news. Like this is like an actual thing that's gonna like change something.
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty cool to think that
What about the people and
people. I feel like a lot of the people are like so insanely smart, and I feel like whenever they tell me to do something, I'm like, I have no understanding of this. They've been giving me tasks to go find out about like certain connectors or certain things to like piping, and I'm like, I've never heard of this piping before. I didn't know it could get up to 8 inches like long or whatever. So like they'll give me a task, and I will go out.
Nobody's gonna say nothing.
Yeah, no.
All right.
No, but like it's just wild to me because
I
it's
know
like
some pipe don't get it to that big.
Look,
Yeah.
if you're a fudge packer, just tell us. It's okay, Matthew. We're very accepting here.
yeah, this new job it's so big.
It's just fudge packing all day.
Anyways.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how like deep it gets. And it's like I didn't know engineering in general. Like nowadays engineering isn't like I'm going to design this entire fucking car. It's like I'm going to design this one part of this car with the one part of I'm not even designing this part. I'm designing the material to this part.
Mhm.
And this material is only part like for example, at the company I work at, it's not like we design whole factories and stuff, but like we don't design like my job isn't to design the piping. My job is to design the material on the piping, and then within that piping, I design these types of materials. I don't work on certain types. Like it's like so specific. It's like so like specialized.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Do you ever like get to go out and
Yep.
like field work type thing?
Yeah, that's what they're gonna get me to start doing. I'm gonna be like a welding expert. I've never welded in my life, but they're getting me to move into that field of like inspecting and stuff.
And
So,
I mean, you'll be able to learn what a good weld from a bad weld looks like real
Yeah.
quick.
If I were you, I'd go like find somebody to at least show you how to weld.
yeah, I know they have somebody there who's actually like a senior. She's been there for like 35 years. She's gonna tell me like all about it. So,
Oh, what a G.
No, wait,
Yeah,
tell you
it's,
about it or like teach you how to do
I'm
it.
gonna go out in the field with her and learn with her. But it's
She
kind of
cute?
crazy.
Wait, hold on. Learn how to do it or learn how to like score it.
The idea is that when it comes to welding inspections, so typically if you've never had any, if you dropped out of school, like high school, and you only have like 8th grade, you need like 6 years of experience in welding to actually do like the job that like it's welding inspection.
Mhm.
With me, because I have a 4-year degree, I only need like 6 months. And the idea is like I'm gonna go out there, and she's gonna, she basically they have like this list of like what you need to know afterwards. A lot of it is just like look at the weld, say this is a good weld or this is a bad weld for like what I'm doing. I'm just gonna be an associate, and then I move into like the actual job, which is like you have to do the paperwork behind it, understand why we're doing these inspections and like all this. So right now I'm just learning like what I can look at and say like that's a good weld or bad weld.
That'll be cool though.
See-
Maybe they'll like
see-
send you around the country and stuff.
Yeah.
See, for me personally, if that was me, what I'd do is I'd go to I have the luxury of doing this, but I'd go to my father-in-law's house. I'd be like, hey, I want to weld this type. I want to learn this type. Teach me how to do it. This type of welding, this type of welding, this type of welding. And I could sit in his driveway and just weld.
Yeah.
Because he has a bunch of different welders. And I've done that just because I want to learn a little bit about it. But that's what I would personally do. Like, I'd go try to learn how to do it. Because I've had an engineer come to me and ream my ass out over something ridiculous. Like I was on, and I might have even told you this. He was an engineer architect, so he had a
He was like
degree.
a civil more.
He was a civil engineer, but then also architect. And he got into architecture in his own firm, and he did a drawing for a house. And he came to me, and he's like, "Who built those columns right there?" And I'm like, "I built those columns." And he's like chucking hammers and like screaming and like looking at paperwork and throwing it and like pitching a fit. And the dude was looking like a complete retard. And later on, like, he's yelling at me. Finally, my boss came up and was like, no. He's like, they're supposed to be round columns. Like, you suck at this and that. And I'm like, for one, I just did what I was told, and then I
Yeah.
built them. And my boss was like, no. The homeowner came to us and said they didn't want round columns. They wanted square columns. So we built them square columns. And your like idea in your drawing for the house does not trump what the homeowner wants. because it's a $10 million house. These particular homeowners who buy houses like that look at details, and what they want goes. And so we're like, okay, yeah, we can change it.
Yeah, that's the thing about like what I do. Like I work on big projects. These are like $1 billion projects. If the company comes to us and they're like, we want this piping, even though it's like, and there's certain metals that they use, like Hastelloy steel is a very specific type of steel. These valves are like they can be like up to like 6 inch wide. They're worth like $380,000 each. Whereas
What type of valve?
it can be like a ball valve, butterfly valve, gate
Globe.
valve. Globes are very popular too. These can be like any types of valves, but typically this Hastelloy is like super, super, super expensive. And a lot of companies can like come to us and say like, hey, we want this type of steel, and it's like super expensive. We can be like, no, just use 316. It's like it's cheaper, Like this is probably a better alternative, but they can be like, no, we want this, and like it doesn't matter what we have in our engineering standards. We have to follow what they say, Like it always comes down to what they say.
And then the other thing too is like I've been around like a lot of framers and stuff, framing houses, and I know a couple of people who like own framing companies, and they're always like shit talking engineers.
Yeah.
Like because they get so pissed off because they're like in your head and on like it's just the common like this is how it works on paper and in theory, and this is how it works in the real world type thing. And so my uncle would always run into stuff like that, and like he'd change stuff on his own, yada yada, and get in arguments with people. So I've always like, if I am ever like going into something like that, I want to be the best I can to be like a hybrid, like someone who could go and do both. That's always been my view of it in engineering.
This is kind of like, this is a pretty big thing. So a lot of people who are in the place I work at are people who aren't just like engineers who just got out of college. They go there, sometimes they do field work. A lot of those people are people who have like did this job for 10 years and they were really, really good at it. So they moved into the office and then they learned the technical stuff. Now they won't know what I learned. Like I learned mathematics. I can go through and like do the actual calculations for these materials, why we use these materials. But they can come in and they can say, well, typically in these lines, they don't go up to 8 inches. They only go up to like 2 inches in the field. I might be doing the calculations for 8 inches, but they're like, just don't do that. That's not necessary. You only go up 2 inches. There's a guy who actually works. So there's a company called Pure Power, and my roommate knows a guy there. He's like a genius. All right, his name is like Nelson or something. So Nelson was like, he's never had any experience with college. He never went to get his education, nothing like that. He just worked in the field for so long. And the idea is these people create pistons, and they typically get pistons that are like faulty, and they redo them and they fix them up. There was this piston that came in, and there was something, I think it had something to do with like the oils they use in the ball bearing. I have no idea, but there was a team of engineers in this room, like down below, like in the bottom of the building, and they were like looking at it. There's like 5 or 6 of them. They're like, we don't know what's wrong. And my roommate, they were talking to my roommate, and they're like, hey, take this to Nelson. Just figure out what's wrong with it. They were sitting there looking at it for like an hour or two, and they're like, we have no idea. This could be so many range of problems. So he takes the little ball valve, or the little, the ball bearing, brings it over to Nelson. Nelson holds it in his hand, moves it a little bit, looks at it. He's like, there are micro holes. He just looks at me and says, there's micro holes, micro cracks within these little like holes, pinholes in the bottom of the thing, and that's causing like leakage. It's causing like it's making it so it's not going to work, And Chris looked at him and he's like, I have no idea how you knew that. Like, you can't even see that. And he's like, well, when you work in this field for so long, you get a sense of it, He's like, it doesn't take calculations to understand what's wrong with this. It takes like a sense of like, I've seen this before. I've been through this road. I know what's wrong with it, And like, it's like, this is something that's like so crazy. It's like no education can tell you what's wrong with this. It's just, you have to be in the field for that long to understand that,
Yeah, that's the shit I like.
Yeah.
I'd like that too. I mean, that'd be fun. I mean, we got a guy that, he finished concrete. He boom pumped concrete. Now he runs a mixer. And it's like, dude, he can tell you anything about concrete. And he's like 24.
24? Must have sucked at doing concrete.
He finished concrete from like, he kind of did. But
He knows the process, so
Yeah. At least know like
he knows like everything that goes into it, even when like pumping it and stuff too.
Like so a lot of my professors, they've all like worked in the field, and most of my professors are were working and teaching at the same time, and almost all of them have said, like, if you have like a floor guy or like a laborer or something like that, like, you should have a great relationship with that person, because if you try to design something or do something higher up, whatever it may be, go to them and ask their opinion and stuff, because they might say stuff that you don't know, that you would have never thought of, and it'll save you time, and it builds your relationship with the other people who are working under you and above you. So I've always kind of just had that view of like, respecting the people who are doing the work, because I've been that person too. like just been the knuckle dragger type person. Hopefully someday we'll be able to graduate, but we'll see.
You will.
So
I might quit.
Might just give up.
Zach actually, my brother, he actually talks about this in like the business world. Like a lot of the time, he'll do something and he'll bring it to his boss and be like, "Hey, what do you think of this like graph I made?" And the boss is like, "This doesn't look right. Go work on this," you know. And he'll point to like some area, but then he's like, "Well, why don't you just tell me what's wrong with it?" And the boss says, "I have no idea what the fuck is wrong with this." But he's like, "I know by looking at this, this doesn't look like what I normally look at." So a lot of people who are like managers or higher ups, they don't know what all these people do. Like they don't know these 10 jobs because they haven't worked these 10 jobs. Maybe they worked a few of them, but the idea is like they only know what the results should be. And if it doesn't look like it's within that range, then it's wrong, you know?
Yeah.
So like a lot of these people who are like higher ups or managers or like engineers, they know that whenever they go and see the columns, they're like, well, this looks right or this doesn't look right. They don't know why that person did that or why that person worked through that. So
Yeah, the dude was just kind of a dick too.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had this speaking of like kind of like going in and knowing what you're like, you know, if you're going to be a welding inspector, you know what to look for and stuff. I had this one realtor. I do tile showers. I'm in the bathroom tiling away. I had a realtor come up and ask me, "Hey, is this a tankless water heater house? Like, or is there a tank here?" I'm like, "I don't know. Like, go look in the garage. Like, go like, why are you coming in and asking me? I'm the tile guy." But like certain people, like I don't know. I feel like you should be able to know how to look for that. If
Yeah.
you're a realtor, it's not really. But I mean, you should kind of know the general stuff about a house and where to look for that. Like,
Yeah,
why would you come up and ask me? You know, like.
Especially if how much money you're making as a
Yeah, yeah.
realtor.
It- realtor is
It's
like-
so different in like concrete because like the people that come up to like ask you, like we'll be at like a boom pump and stuff. They'll come, they're like the trucks will, like the concrete trucks will be blocking the road. They're like, "You need to get these trucks out of here." And it's like, dude, I'm just a truck driver. I'm not running this operation. And they're sitting there cussing you out, yelling at you, and then I can cuss back at them and yell at them. And it's like, dude, I'm not even running this operation. What are you mad about?
you can go talk to the right person.
Yeah.
I had one time where some lady was pissed at me. We used to get to work like super early. Like we'd be there like 3:45 in the morning to start a job.
Yep.
And so we were doing like stair treads. And whenever you do stair treads, they put down like temporary stair treads. And so we were pulling them off and putting on, oak treads going up the stairs. And I was running our chop saw. Had our air compressor going, and the lady didn't hear none of that. All she heard was my dad like banging on the temporary stairs treads to like get them off, and they're just 2x4s. And so he's like banging to get them off, and she comes in there. She comes and yells at me, and I'm like, it's dark out. I'm like working on something on the ground, like in the garage, and all I see is 2 feet in front of me and someone yelling at me at literally like 5 a.m.
Was it like a neighborhood with people already living in it? Or?
This lady was next door.
Okay.
So what we usually try to do is we try to like set up like away from that wherever the master bedroom is
Yeah.
and stuff like that. We try not to make a lot of noise like too early and all stuff like we do our very best. And we've never like years of getting up that early and going to work, like no one's ever complained. And this lady was an ass to me, like a complete ass. And I walked inside. I'm like, why are you complaining to me? Like, you can go talk to my boss. I didn't even say it with my dad. I'm like, go talk to my boss. So she goes in there, she's yelling at him. And she said something ridiculous. I wish I could remember, but she said like something really ridiculous to me. And I was like kind of freaking peppy back to her. And I'm like, I can't remember what it was. But anyway, she went inside, she talked to my dad. So she's talking to him, and she was being awful.
Yeah.
Yelling at us and stuff. And then she like goes stomping out. And then like 10 minutes later, she comes back in and she's like, well, since I'm up so early already, I'll just go and buy coffee at Dunkin' Donuts. And I just thought I would ask you if you guys would like anything from Dunkin' Donuts. And I'd already told my dad, like, no, like I ain't getting shit. So then she left and then came back, like to get our order.
Did Brian order something?
Yeah, my dad was just trying to be like, nice. He's like, oh, I'll just have like a medium coffee with cream and sugar.
Yeah.
And she looks at me and she goes, what would you like? And I'm like, I don't want anything from you. I said it just like that. And she goes, what? I'm like, I don't want anything from you. She goes, you don't want a donut or a coffee? I'm like, no. Like, I was pissed. I can't remember why I was so mad, but
Yeah.
I wasn't mean or anything, but I was just like, no, I don't want anything from you. And she, like, got all pissed off again at me for not
Yeah.
saying an order. So then she went to my dad and was like, what does he want? My dad's like, he'll just have a black coffee. And I'm like, I ain't drinking it. And then the lady left. She came back, gave us
You know what
coffee.
we should do? We should have like one podcast where we just sit and tell all like the good time stories. Because I think everybody should work in retail at least once because you get stuff like that all the time.
Oh, yeah.
And it got to the like I worked at Lowe's for a long time, man. I was pretty much a manager.
Wait, well, at least tell us a story about the old dude with a gun or something like that.
Oh yeah, the Korean War vet or whatever he was. So when I worked at Lowe's, man, people would always get mad, and I was a manager in the garden section. And all the garden associates, they had radios, and the cashiers had radios. And my cashiers came on and they said, "Hey, can you come up to the front, Jarrett?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll be there in a minute." So I'm in the back, whatever. I got off forklift, was walking up there, and I'm like walking down the center aisle, and I can see like the front, and I just see this guy with a DeWalt drill and waving around something silver. And I'm like, what the heck am I walking into? I got closer, dude. This is he was a veteran. He had a like a Navy veteran hat on, a Colt 45 revolver.
He had it out.
Yeah, and a DeWalt drill in his hand. And my cashiers are all like sitting there like wide-eyed looking at me. And I walked up to him and I said, "What you doing, buddy?" He said, "Oh, this guy was in the parking lot. He was stealing this. Here you go." And he like hands me the drill. I'm like, "Okay, cool, thanks." And he's like, "Yeah, I just wanted to come give it back." And I was like, "Okay." He's like, "Do you need anything from me?" I was like, "No, you should be good." And he was like waving this, like, dude, the whole time he's talking to me, he's waving the gun around. And he's like, I'm starting to get like super, super nervous. So I'm like, "Hey, can you please put that away?" And he said, "Oh, no, I'm certified to carry." And I said, "You need to put that fucking gun away before I call the cops." And that's when he put it away. But I mean, he was,
Just waving it around.
yeah, I mean, he was just like safe checking everybody, just like bam, 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 like safe checking me. I'm like, all right, well, I might get shot by this 85-year-old veteran
Do you think
over
he,
a DeWalt drill.
do you think he actually saw somebody who was stealing something? Or do you think some dude was just buying a drill? He was walking out and he just basically.
No, we had people steal stuff all the time, dude.
Okay.
We had a guy. I saw a guy walk in. This is what I'm saying. We gotta have a podcast where we can just like sit and talk about like all the stories we've collected through the years.
Okay, we definitely have to have a podcast sometime like that because I want Scotty to tell his story.
Yeah,
You know exactly what.
but thinking this one guy, we at Lowe's, dude, you could never chase somebody or touch them.
Yeah, that's so
that was a
stupid.
But so I was like, well, can I yell at them? They're like, I mean, there's nothing that says you can't. So I saw this guy stealing like a propane heater, like a huge DeWalt propane heater, and I said, "You're such a bitch for stealing!" Like right to this guy's face, and he was like, "F you" and all this stuff, and I just kept giving it to him, dude.
What if they hit you?
You can smack him then.
Yeah, that's a big deal though. Like they told us this at Quick Trip.
Yeah.
If someone steals a candy bar, chasing them outside probably isn't the best thing to do because they had kids that do that before, like 16, 17-year-old kids. Because that's mainly the kids that work there.
Right.
This one guy stole a candy bar, started walking out, and the kid's like, "I'm not letting him fucking do that." Walks outside, and there's a bunch of like gangster-looking dudes with guns, and it's like, okay, you just made this candy bar into the like worst possible situation. You know, I don't know. It really,
No, it happens though.
yeah, it's almost not worth it to deal with those people because a lot of those people can be like actually crazy, like actually insane, and they don't give a shit. Like,
Oh yeah.
nothing left to lose type people.
Well, a lot of them are like, they're methed up and stuff, dude. That's what they're stealing for. They're stealing this stuff to sell it. And I mean, it was fun working at Lowe's. I think I really do honestly think everybody should work in a retail job or a customer
Yeah,
service
yeah.
job just because it shows you how much of what the world is really like and what people are really like.
Yeah, especially like a job like a grocery store or gas station where it's
Oh,
like
yeah,
you're getting
totally, dude.
every single kind of person. They're all going to tell you what they think.
Yep, and they're gonna talk to you. And like Scotty, have you ever worked retail? Well,
Yeah, Scotty worked. retail.
yeah.
Mouse real quick so that doesn't. Yeah.
I know the story that Dallas is talking about.
Yeah, where I got held up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There's a video online about that.
Yeah.
Probably the video.
Did you guys
News
see in Spartanburg where those two guys shot and killed that person?
no.
Two guys just shot up, like in Spartanburg. Some old guy was walking his dog, and like two gangsters just ran up and shot him. in cold
Down the
blood.
street.
All
Like
right.
he's just walking down.
Yeah, he was walking down the street, and these two guys just walked up to him, shot him in cold blood.
They take his money or something. Or
No, nothing. They just killed him and walked off, dude. They can't find motives or nothing.
hit and run.
Yeah, did you hear about that, Dal? That those two guys that shot that old man in Spartanburg?
No, I heard about the cop getting shot.
No, in Spartanburg there was like an old man. I just saw something about it online, and I don't know what
That's
the article was.
Spartanburg. I mean,
Yeah, that's
Yeah, Spartanburg's average, well, normal, but
yeah. Actually, at the same store Scotty got robbed at, I was working there, and a manager was talking to me. He's like, "Oh, well, 2A or whatever, the second assistant manager was supposed to be here, but he had some issues last week." I'm, "Oh, what happened?" He's like, "Some family stuff." He's like, "No, a guy asked for help on a pump. He walked outside, got 3 feet outside, and the guy started beating the shit out of him for no reason." So this guy, the manager, ends up winning, beats the shit out of the other guy. The other guy limps away to a Miracle Hill and does the same exact thing. Says he needs help outside, and then the manager beats the shit out of him. There, he goes to jail. It was-
Oh, man.
That boy was just on a rampage.
he wanted to.
He's
fight.
like, I just want to see if I can win a fight. Kid probably got bullied the
Yeah.
whole time growing up. He's like, I'm gonna win one fight in my life.
Yeah. No, he's in jail.
Yeah, that whole like, I get it, like the insurance about the no chasing after thieves policy and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
But man, I just think it's so stupid.
I really wish I could have chased somebody, dude. I mean, I was a defensive tackle in high school. I wasn't good at it, but I mean, I did like tackling people. So it's like, dude, if I could go out and just spear some bozo stealing, bro, it'd make my life so much better.
Yeah. A lot of it is those like, yeah, if you're like 21, 22, yeah, you can probably do that. You probably have the ability to. But if you're 16 or 17, they really don't like the idea that like you going out doing.
No,
this. Like,
yeah.
Well,
you're a
even if the
kid.
person turns with a knife or something, anything happens.
Yeah.
It's not worth the life.
Well, that too. They were really adamant against
The
me
amount
because
of-
I was like the youngest employee at Lowe's. I was like 18. I mean, I was straight just 18.
The amount of money they're gonna lose from
The lawsuit and all
materials
that
and
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, here's the other thing too, and this isn't like super current event, but look at San Francisco, with what's happening over there. Like, oh yeah, it's not a crime, not it's still a crime, but it's
Oh, petty theft. It's a misdemeanor now.
yeah.
That's what it is.
yeah,
Any
it's just-
any theft under $950
Yeah.
a misdemeanor.
Now people are just walking into Walgreens's and all these stores and just filling up bags. They're making sure it's less than $900 and then leaving.
Yep.
Now the stores have to close and all this. It's like, what if there was what if COVID would have been a little bit worse and people were like, oh, Lowe's, you're not going to chase after me for stealing something? I'll just walk in there and take what I need then.
Yeah, I mean, people still do. Like even when because I work
No, but lots of people.
right.
Like even at like the smallest like sense of, urgency or whatever. And just, it doesn't even have to be a lot. Just say, 100 people a day at each store. They're just
Yeah.
walking out with stuff.
I mean, that adds up.
Yeah, and so eventually it'd become like you wouldn't be able to like have that same rule,
Right.
And I just think it's stupid because I think it's wrong to steal. But
Yeah.
and then part of me is like they look at this person like that person doesn't get in trouble for that, and if they're not gonna get in trouble, then I'll just go do the same thing.
Yeah.
Like why should I follow the rules if they're not following the rules?
Yeah.
But dude,
It
it was sketchy though, because it was like, dude, people would come in like nonchalant, hoodie up, grab a shopping cart. Like this would happen sometimes. It wouldn't happen all the time, but they would grab a shopping cart and they would go straight to the tool section and just start filling it in front of the associates. Associates are like, "Hey, do you need help?" And he's like, "No, I'm stealing this." And they're like, "What?" Like they would just be like, "Why are you stealing?" It's like, "Oh, because I just want to steal it." And just load the shopping cart
Maybe
up.
at least call the cops.
Yeah, I mean they'd call the cops, but dude, by the time you're in and out in 3 minutes, you load the thing up, throw it in the cars, and boot, scoot, and boogie.
Oof. Yeah, that stuff just it annoys me so bad.
Yeah,
I can't.
I
stand
hate thefts, thieves, not thefts.
All right. Well, it's been 2 hours already, and I think Matthew, you had to.
Do you have to go at 4 because you're kind of past that?
Oh, I'm very past 4.
It's only
Okay.
4:20. Make a wish.
We can-
Oh,
Blaze
they're
it
an
up.
hour and 20 minutes. Oh, they've already left. Oh, I gotta go.
Okay. Well, we'll
Oh, no.
we'll shut it down so you don't miss anything.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Oh, by the way, that's Matthew. That's Jarrett.
J Rat.
That's Scotty. We'll definitely we'll do this again.
We got to start trademarks for us. This is the old J Dog, and we're signing off for the day.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. I'll let Jarrett do the whole sign off thing.
Yeah, you want me to do it?
Yeah. Just give us.
Everybody, thanks for watching today. Hope you like and subscribe and enjoyed the video and podcast. Please make sure to leave a thumbs up. If you can, make sure to share on all your social media platforms.
Okay.
Yeah.
And with that, we're out.
Only,
Yep.
Making a cup
only
of-
20% of you are subscribed.
Oh man.
That's good.